of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Approval of the minutes, did you guys all get to take a look at them?
Motion to approve with one clerical correction, on the third page of Marla's, about 5 paragraphs down,
On the special or the regular?
the regular,
1, 2, 3, how many paragraphs down?
about 5 with Trenton
Okay,
Schwab.
okay,
I think it was not supposed to be,
Oh, you're saying that should be Trent Schwann?
yeah.
oh,
It says Trent Schwab.
good thing
It
you
says
got
Schwab.
that, because I have to send this to the state, thank
Yeah.
you.
I just happened to see that. Trenton Schwab twice.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, we call Josh Scott all the time, nobody ever corrects that.
I don't know if that ever made the minutes, so did it? Any other corrections?
No, a motion.
Sorry,
You make a
Scott.
motion, Jim?
Yeah.
Second by you,
I'll second.
second. Mayor, all in favor, excuse me.
Alright,
Motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Any additions?
No, just that Francis Crum deletion.
Yeah. Anything else? If not, all in favor of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Clark, okay, second. Miller, all in favor?
alright,
Opposed, motion carried. Old unfinished business. Item 1 is a utility permit for John McCrory to install a 12-inch drain pipe on Main Southwest. Pipe will be between section 36 Township 133 range 78 and section 31 Township 133 range 77. Well, I happened to go out there on the location just out of curiosity what all took place and if it did take place. And what I had seen, I said, God, it looked like they open trench through the road, which we had discussed at the last meeting, that it had to be absolutely bored. Gary Sanders went out with aerial drone and shot these shots.
Did we even approve this permit?
no,
No,
Table, last
we
two.
did not have a permit on hand.
we were waiting, he was going to do something with the ditch.
Something about the permit,
And
if there were any
then we wanted
wetland permits,
have
that's
Joe-
why it got tabled, I think, right?
Joe was gonna check easements.
Right.
So I,
Right.
And technically, I think by law, the contractor
Right.
is supposed to have a permit on site.
I was just gonna say that I was approached by another contractor in the county and he stated to me that no projects are started in many counties or all counties and states basically without a permit. That's the first question asked
Yeah,
by everybody before anything ever happens.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's bad for, and he said, if you're gonna penalize the owner, you gotta penalize the contractor too, because that's the person that screwed up just as much as the owner of this.
Yeah, right.
Question. I talked to John because I got property in the neighborhood. He tells me that if it's less than 80 acres, you don't need a permit.
as far as
You need a
drainage,
utility permit anytime you're going under a road right away.
But this wasn't bored under the road.
Well, it was supposed to be.
it's supposed to be.
But we're after the fact, it's there
Right, without a permit. I mean, the permit was submitted to the county commissioners. It just was not approved because we tabled it because we needed more information.
For easements. We just had to make sure that because he had talked about on the south side of this field,
already, right?
in the ditch, he was gonna go in and
Yeah.
open cut that ditch
Along here.
back in here and bring it into the main pipe of the drain pipe. But we said we have to make sure that there's no wetland easements in our ditches on any adjacent property.
The further west you go, that's complete wetland.
Right.
Right, but the other issue with the utility permit is it didn't state that he was gonna bore it, and when we asked him about it, that didn't seem like it was very clear either. So I mean, that was another reason why we weren't acting on a utility permit. 'Cause like when Cam or Beck or South Central Water, they state that they're going to bore a 2-inch line or 1.25 inch line, and that's what we require, is that when they bore under these roads, so. That was another reason too, it wasn't just about the easement situation, it was also that we don't allow open cutting of any of the roads, so that's where. I mean, this one, not only was there not a utility permit approved, they didn't do it in the manner that we'd have approved it anyway, which is they open cut the road, so. And the thing about open cutting these roads, I mean, you could look at this and you could go, well, it doesn't look like they did much damage, it looks like it was a pretty good job. The problem is, it's like anything else in the world, it's not about the ones who do a good job, it's that if you're gonna allow people to open cut the roads, who's to say the next guy's gonna do a good job? Who's gonna say the next one isn't gonna cut open a federal aid road versus, kind of an obscure secondary road out there that doesn't get traveled that much, right? I mean, cause that's the excuse for opening cut this road was,
Right.
well, it's not that important of a road, we're the only ones that use it. Well, yeah, that might be the scenario, but what if the next person wants to, open up the Tenvick Road, and they don't have a clue what they're doing, and they don't, and you have, you have traffic control, you got all these other things, that's why we don't allow open cutting of the roads.
Well, the responsibility, the liability falls
Right.
back on the county.
It's a quality of the road issue, it's a quality control issue for the traffic, it's everything, so.
And John did call before they started on this, if it was approved at the meeting, to Russ, and Russ evidently, from what Russ told me, if I'm thinking clearly, that he said, no, they did not approve it, you have to bore it. But they went ahead and they cut through this road. And also, it wasn't to me, it was to someone else, the young guy, the young McCurry, what's his name, Jack? When he was approached, or he drove up on site and was asked what happened here, we bored it. What happened here? We bored it. The third time he said, what happened here? We cut through the road. We opened the road up. So it's 3 strikes against them, in my opinion. They didn't have a permit, and we made it clear that they bored under these roads. All we're doing is opening up a corridor for all the utilities and everyone else in the future if we don't address this. And I know it's a road that goes to the old Lawler place, but it's a section line road. There's no denying that.
Well, and I mean, I'll just speak for myself, being a contractor, I mean, and being a county commissioner, I've done several bores where I told folks like, well, we have to bore that road. I mean, they incurred the extra cost.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has, Chem, Beck, South Central Water, any
Yeah.
private people that have, wanted to get water from one side of the road to the other to another pasture, they bore these roads. I mean, we've asked that of people, they've paid the extra cost, the extra fees, like, this is the system we have, and we can't allow it, so. I will say for the sake of the record, I did talk to Joe Hanson about it. His schedule was pretty swamped already, so he didn't have a lot of time to look into it, so he's looking into it. Don't really know what the proper course of action is yet, so I would say for now, the best thing to do would probably be just, we're aware of it, we brought it up, it's being looked into, and we'll have to, find out more, once Joe kind of pursues it as far as what the proper avenue is here, so that's the main thing about it, just so everybody's aware that we really don't have any legal guidance at this point, so.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating that I think several of us responded to too about the price.
What we,
That this was gonna add $40,000 to the project, but when a local contractor was asked what it would cost to bore a 12-inch pipe, it was $65 a feet, so for 100 feet, it would've been $6,500, not 40 grand. Like I was told.
we were on this, and I think you and I too, right, when we were on site, they said it cost 40 grand, when I asked the contractor, 2 of them, they said it's $65 a foot, 12 to 14-inch pipe.
Yeah.
If it's anything smaller, they could say anywhere from $20 to $25 a foot.
Yeah. It's all around a little frustrating.
Yeah.
For clarification, that is a 14-inch pipe under it.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Big pipe.
And it comes out in, is it in the right of way on the other side, Gary?
Yes.
It is, correct?
Right.
The tail.
Josh can show you a photograph, so there's where it exits.
Comes out,
And then if you go back to the aerial view, it's 150 feet from the west shoulder of Main Avenue to the end of the pipe.
Okay,
So from the west shoulder of Main
the west shoulder, yep.
to where it exits, right there, you can
oh,
go in.
But
it's
that's gotta be in the ditch right away there too, not
Yeah,
what is
the
it?
other ditch, yeah, from,
Is that 80?
13, yeah. No, that isn't 13.
That's a
That's like
75 foot right
79th
of,
or 78,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't it, Josh?
What?
That's a 75 foot right of way, that east-west.
That might be a 60, this one was done years ago, I don't think they
That
have
was the old
75,
Highway
it might be a
13.
60, hold on. Yeah, I got 60. That's kind of one that they did, so.
Well, it must have been one of those, like, yeah, because even that curve, like when you come off the highway and then it curves, I mean, that must have been like right there, that must have been a little bit of a, if you probably go in the courtroom or courthouse, you probably find that was a little bit of a created easement or
Oh, yeah.
something to try and make that road work, so.
Mhm.
So yeah, it probably has maybe an irregular right of way there to a point, but
You remember that, don't you, Ralph, that was the old federal aid road, correct, or the farmers to market road?
I would say right now, the best course of action would be just to keep it on hold and unfinished business and wait for, an opinion from the state's attorney on what the proper course of action is.
Okay,
Well, the
sounds
way
good to
they,
me. Anything else?
the way they left that ditches and all, they had made no attempt to clean that up either.
Well, again, it's the reason why you probably don't wanna open cut through the right of ways
No.
either, because you've now created a situation where you can have erosion, you can water, I mean, that's the whole
Right.
point of the board. Once you get onto private property again, outside of the right of way, if
It's
you wanna have
theirs.
damages like that, that's what you do on your own land, or you work it out with the people, but when you're
We did.
damaging the right of way and causing issues on the right of way, that becomes a problem for everybody now, so.
The bore should be from the property line to the property line.
It should be outside, it should
Right.
start outside of the right of way and end outside of the right of way,
Yep.
that's the way
Yep.
it's usually done, so.
So where's the culvert at? Underneath there.
There is no culvert.
I think there is a call.
There's a culvert there.
Yes.
I don't know where if they went, they had to go on one side of it or the other.
From the one.
Cause the water from
From
the
the
east
east to
drains
the
through
west.
that culvert.
It
Yeah.
drains down, there's a,
Yeah,
right there,
yeah, there's
Oh,
the
okay.
culvert.
I know to see.
So they went north of the culvert.
coming
Yeah, they're north.
on the east side of that road, south, that dirt is humped up, the water isn't gonna flow down through there. They didn't level that out, it's going to pond,
It'll
North
pond
of
back
that.
there,
right,
till it washes its way through.
right, then you got more erosion.
It's kind of, yeah, on the east side of Main Avenue there, it's elevated,
Right.
and it's gonna create a dam
Yeah,
for that water
yeah.
flow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
Thanks for going out there doing that, Gary. I tried to take pictures, but you can't take ground pictures to justify what you're looking at.
No, that was good. Come on, good.
That's what it was before, you know? Okay, we'll table it until the next meeting, then old business next month, okay? The next item in new business is the University of Mary bond resolution. Morning, guys.
Good morning, Mark. Well, good morning, Commissioners, thanks for having us again, just for clarification, my name is Paul Heedy. I represent the University of Mary, I live in the northern parts of Emmons County between Hazelton and Braddock. Just here today at kind of the next step or the next part of these bond requests, these tax exempt bonds for our current projects happening at the University of Mary. So if you have the document in front of you here, it says bond resolution near the top. I thought I'd just cover a few of the items on here and then allow Kevin to do the same and then see if there's any questions related to it. But starting on the first page, number 2, just for clarification, this consideration of your bond authorization is for the University of Mary, which is a nonprofit corporation, 501c3 in Bismarck, North Dakota, and Burleigh County, seeking to allow you to authorize up to $8 million of your bond capacity or authorization in a calendar year for the following purposes. And I'm just gonna highlight item subset B, which is the main components of these projects. And that's to finance certain costs of the planning, permitting, constructing, improving, furnishing, and or equipping additional capital projects located on our main campus in South Bismarck, referred to as the improvement project. And it's including, but not limited to, a new athletics complex and related master landscaping. That would be the road, the orienting of the road and all of our parking lots throughout campus. A new campus welcome center, a new residence hall, various functionally related and subordinate facilities, and then the reimbursement of the university for certain costs previously incurred by the university with respect to the improvement project. So that's what these bonds would be helping us complete. If you turn to page 3 near the top, item subset F, I just wanted to remind you as the commissioners of Emmons County that the bonds and the interest accruing thereon do not constitute an indebtedness of any kind of the issuer, which would be the Emmons County Commission. Within the meaning of any constitutional or statutory limitation of indebtedness, and do not constitute or give rise to pecuniary liability or a charge against the general credit or taxing powers of the issuer, and neither the full faith and credit nor the taxing powers of the issuer. So just a reminder that if you do authorize up to $8 million of your bond authorization, it comes with no risk upon you as the issuer. If you turn the page to page 4, this is kind of item 2.4 near the top in terms of the delivery of the bonds. I just wanted to make you aware that before the delivery of the bonds, there shall be filed with the lender the following items. So this is kind of the steps we've been taking. An executed copy of each of the following documents, the first being this bond resolution, which you have before you. And following that will be the loan agreement, followed by the assignment of the loan agreement, and then the intergovernmental agreement. And then lastly, the opinion of bond counsel as to the validity of the tax exempt status of the bonds, and then any other reasonably required opinions or documents that bond counsel may seek. So that's just kind of the step-by-step process over the next several weeks of things that will be going back and forth between the county and our bond counsel. And then lastly, on page 5, just a reminder on item 2.11 in the middle, qualified tax exempt obligations. In order to qualify the bonds as qualified tax exempt obligations within section 265B3 of the Internal Revenue Code, the issuer hereby makes the following factual statements and representations, which are all true. A, based entirely upon representations of the university and bond counsel, the bonds, when issued, will be qualified 501c3 bonds. Item B, the issuer hereby designates the bonds as qualified tax exempt obligations under the code, which I've just referenced. Item C, the reasonably anticipated amount of tax exempt obligations which have been or will be issued by the issuer will not exceed $10 million in one calendar year. And then every January 1, you get the same authority again. And then item D, not more than 10 million of your obligations will be issued by you as the issuer in calendar year 2026 for this designated purpose, which is the qualified tax exempt bonds. So I just want to make you aware of those several items. I'll allow Kevin to speak a little bit more about this, and then I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for having us this morning. Again, for the record, my name is Kevin Baker. I'm with Rivera Bank in Bismarck. Just one clarification, Paul did a great job in summarizing the bond resolution ahead of you. I did, Marilys handed up the revised copy. The only thing that changed on that copy versus what you had in your packet was on page 2, the dated, the dates under the definitions, and then in 1.4D, the date was September 4th, that now changed to September 21st and 22nd. And I will explain that in a little bit, but that was the only real revision that happened on this document from what you had in your package, so I wanted to clarify that. So just to review the process again, so last month, again, you graciously had us in, we explained what we were up to on the request at hand. and, you, approved to using as much bonding authority as you could, for this particular project, for us to issue the bank qualified tax exempt bonds. So after that informational, meeting and your agreements to issue bonds for this project, then there was notices published in the Emmons County Record, for today's meeting. That is basically a public hearing. With any bond issuance, there has to be a public hearing, and so those notices were, appropriately completed in the record. And so I would just ask if there's anybody, from the public that's here to, talk about or ask questions or has any concerns with the request at hand.
Any concerns from anybody out there in the public? If not, go ahead and move on.
Okay, thank you. If there are no, concerns from the public or questions, basically what we are, asking for or requesting today from this commission, if you so choose to, support it, would be, adopting this bond resolution, that's ahead of you. Again, it is for $8 million of your $10 million authority. And I thought I would summarize, just for you, a couple of things. So, I think I mentioned last month that we're gonna be doing this in 2 tranches or 2 funding dates because of the timing it takes between municipalities to approve, the bond resolutions or bond purchase agreements, I should say. There's 15 days required between all of them. We have 7 municipalities that, have committed to us, which is, about what we needed. And that's, so they're not all full at $10 million. Some had less bonding authority than others. We just, had a little bit reduced amounts versus the 10 million if they had it available. So our first tranche, we have Early County in for $8 million. They signed their bond purchase agreement on, June 12th. City of Braddock is in for $10 million. They signed their, bond purchase agreement on June 29th. City of Wilton is in for $6 million. They will be signing their BPA on 7/15. And then City of Linton, last night at their commission meeting, approved the resolution for $10 million. And, they will sign their bond purchase agreement on about July 31st. So that 34 million that I just described will close on or about August 4th. So that'll be our first, 34 million. And then the next 3 municipalities, we have City of Hague, last night also had their commission meeting. They approved $8 million. We have before Emmons County today $8 million, if you're willing to approve that. And then we have the City of Briarwood at $10 million, so that will constitute the next 26 million to equal 60 total. So the dating on those would be, I don't know the specific order, but between Hague, Emmons County and Briarwood, assuming they all approve, we would, sign the first BPA on that tranche about August 15th, one on or about August 30th or 31st, and one on September 15th. And then that combined, we will close on that funding about September 21st or 22nd, somewhere in that neighborhood. So, Emmons County, if you approve it, would be part of that tranche. To be funded in late September. And last month I described the fees that would be paid to the county for $8 million, that'd be an $8,000 fee. That gets paid on that date of closing in late September. We would ideally wire the money into the county account. We can do cashier's checks, but wires is preferable if that's acceptable to the county. The one other thing that I mentioned last week, and I know that the county attorney isn't here today, but I know he's at the meeting in Linton last night. So Scott Wagner, who's been bond counsel for Arabic for many years, is located in Bismarck. He's willing to offer attorney's opinions to the counties or cities that request him to do so. And so he's willing to do that if the county reaches out. He won't reach out to you, but if you so desire, you can reach out to him and ask for that attorney opinion. It's ideal if the same attorney can prepare most of those, just because he's very familiar with the transaction. He's well familiar with the documents, and he can issue that. And if Scott is issuing them, since he's so familiar with this, University of Mary will cover that cost. If the county chooses to have their own attorney, review it, or Mr. Hanson review it, or somebody else, then that would be at the county's cost to offer that opinion. So I would offer that up to the county if you so desire. Scott is more than willing to offer that opinion, which is a requirement of this bond process. I think I've touched on all of the points I wanted to touch on. Are there any questions that we can answer or that are left unanswered from last month's meeting?
Well, I just want to make it clear for the record, these are not taxpayer funds. They're not coming out of any other fund of the counties. They're just basically options to bond projects that we are allowed, and we are assigning those to you so you can utilize them. You're getting your own loans and you're paying all this stuff back, and there's no repercussions to the county if you would default in any way, shape, or form.
You summarized it perfectly, Commissioner, that's exactly right. It can be confusing, and I don't know if anybody's got questions, because it's been published in the paper that these hearings are happening, and most people don't understand this process, and so.
If you have this meeting on in the background while you're working on your lawnmower, it sounds like Emmons County, Hague, and Briarwood are giving you, Mary, upwards of $20 to $30 million, and that's not what's happening. So that's,
Very true.
I don't need that kind of confusion, because it, like you said, even as a commissioner, I've never gone through this process, but like, now that you've gone through it, it makes sense, but just, like I said, if you're only picking up the million part, then you're like, where'd they get all this money? It's like, well, it's not our money in the first place, so.
It's not a performance bond, it's not an obligation to the county, it's a MIDA bond, MIDA, MIDA bond, which it's a tax rule that was set up many decades ago that allows nonprofits such as University of Mary to access cheaper financing costs through a bank like Rivera, because the bank does not pay federal income tax on interest earned on the bond or the loan that we're issuing to University of Mary. Again, the obligation is University of Mary's to pay back. The $60 million has to come from them. They're the borrower on it. If they default, we remedy that with University of Mary. It has nothing to do with coming back to the county or anything.
Yeah, that's deceiving in the public hearing.
But it is,
Well, like I said, if you're just cliff noting it, then you don't understand the process. Next thing you know, everybody around town's talking about how we gave you Mary $8 million. That's not what happened, and so.
We don't.
The paper only covers a very small part of what actually happens. It's probably a 45-minute, educational session for everybody to fully understand what it is. But, and again, it's a great opportunity for small communities. Again, most aren't aware of it because you just don't get asked, right?
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of connections here with Emmons County, and so that's where we really started our work. Me being from Clinton, obviously Paul having great connections here, living here. University of Mary having great connections of students and employees from Emmons County. We like to stay close to home and bring some benefit back to the county in terms of some revenue you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I would,
Is there any other discussion? Go ahead, Gardner.
I would make a motion to enter into an $8 million bond resolution with, Rivera Bank, University of Mary, and that we use Scott Wagner as, attorney at no fee to us.
Any more discussion, or is there a second to what Mr. Gardner just addressed?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Mr. Magrum. If you wanna do a roll call vote, I think we should. We'll do a roll call vote in reference to what we just had a first and a second to on the motions. Mr. Gardner?
Aye.
Aaron Magrum?
Aye,
Jim Gardner?
you already voted.
Excuse me, it's wrong, sir. Jim Vanderhorst? Aye. Craig Miller?
Aye.
Dan Materi? Aye. Nays? Motion carried, 5-1, or 5-0, excuse me. Anything else we need to discuss?
No, we really appreciate your support and voting in favor of this request, and thank you for your time the last 2 months in the meetings, and hopefully we're back again some year for additional requests for other nonprofits.
Sounds good, thanks, guys.
Can you get Scott's number to Marlis?
Yes, I will share that information. The only other thing, Marlis, if you, and I think Terry Chris from Immaculata asked for a W-9 for the county.
I sent that to you.
You sent it, okay, perfect. You're right, I'm sorry, Emmons County had replied on that, so thank you for that. if you're okay with signing off on the bond resolution with all the ayes and nays and the minutes, I'll take that today, if you're
You want
okay.
to-
You want it today?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, that way we've got the signed copy.
Thank you, yep, thank you, commissioners.
You're welcome.
What'd you say?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brett.
Take care.
I can send you a signed copy back if you like that for your
Yeah, if you
record.
would please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Well, we're 8 million later. That's deceiving the
We're
people.
we're not any later.
That's just all.
We're gonna be $8,000 richer. On the way down.
Okay, I'll wait for Megan to come back. Okay, next item is item B, Randy Bosch on weeds. Yeah, come on up here with Mike, pull the mic close to you. Morning, Randy, go ahead, it's yours.
I think you guys have a weed board problem. I got leafy spurge at my place that originated from the core property to the east of me. Of course, the core doesn't have to spray noxious weeds, just individuals do. So my 57 acres is infested with leafy spurge. Called the county last year, talked to Marla, she gave me a number to this Pierce person. Called him. His messages were full on his phone. How are you supposed to leave a message when your phone is full? I called back to Marla. Marla said, yeah, that's the right number. Waited a couple days, called him back. He answered this time. Said he would, or no, he didn't answer this time. This time I got through and I left a message for him. Told him what the problem was, give me a call. 2 weeks go by, nothing. Call him back. He answers this time. Did you get my message? Nope. I said, what's the deal? Left it on your phone. Anyway, we talked about it. I said, I got leafy spurge all over the place. I'll be out in 2 days to spray it. Never showed up. Waited a couple more weeks. Called him up. But what's going on? Something came up. I had to spray something else. I'll be out in a couple of weeks. Never saw the man in 2025. The only people that have called me back about this is Mr. Vanderworst and Cole Schneider. Leonard Vetter, he supposedly was on the board. I left 3-4 messages for him last year. Didn't call me back one time.
Yeah, he's the chair.
I called Pierce this year, just a few weeks ago. What's going on? I don't know that I can help you. Isn't it his job to help me? What the hell are we doing?
I did call Leonard, Randy, and, he said the wind has been a real problem this year, you know, so they're really behind. They're focusing on right-of-ways first, you know, the county right-of-ways, and, I guess, one comment, I guess, you know, you can get cost share on the chemical and just go out and do it, you know, I mean, I spray a lot of my own, so, I mean, they can't get around the whole county, so,
Well, if you start a list, eventually you gotta get to the top, don't you?
yeah.
Or do you just get pushed down because you got small property? Is that how this works? You gotta have a lot of acres or what?
It shouldn't be the way it is.
No,
Well, that, I don't believe so.
no.
Well, then why should I have to spray it?
There's a
I'm
lot
not
of
gonna
people
come to you
waiting.
guys about this again.
Right.
This
You know
is
what?
it. This is my last time I'm calling to you about this. If there's leafy spurge all over the frickin' countryside, I don't care. I tried for 2 years now to get that shit sprayed.
And it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a bad week, I'm done with it, you know.
And what was the deal this year? He doesn't know that he can help me. What does that mean? I'm screwed or what? What, tell me what that means. He don't know he can help me. What do you think that means, Aaron? What's that mean?
No, I don't know, I haven't talked to him, so I don't know.
Dan, you got any clue?
I have no idea.
You guys? Any idea what that's supposed to mean?
Well, we don't babysit the weed board, that's why we have a board.
That's why there's a board.
They're on their own.
Oh, they're doing a terrible job.
Well, Leonard Vedder's the chair of that
And
deal.
we'll definitely need to look into that.
Vetter's the chairman,
Yeah,
and he can't call me back? You got a problem.
yeah, he should.
It's not
Is
an
there fighting
issue,
guys?
Weiss.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, they should have at least called you, Randy, and told you that, you know, you get, at least get cautionary on the chemical here, you know, so you weren't even told that, so.
I wouldn't even call back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone. You guys know about it, I'm done. The only other thing I wanna know is snow plowing on my road. Are you guys required to do that or not?
What is it?
Snow plowing on my road.
Snow plowing.
It comes off the highway, goes past the restaurant, past the RV park, up to where the people live. Are you guys responsible for that?
You wanna pull that up, Josh?
Right there.
Is there right of way on that or anything, Josh, or is that like
Not
a
that I'm
private
aware of.
drive?
Yeah, I would say.
There might be some kind of easement,
I would
There's
say-
an easement,
there's easements, but
there's an easement on it.
Was there an easement with the county, or is there an easement with like the other landowners?
The other land filed at the county.
Well, then I would say if it's not public right of way, then we wouldn't be responsible for it.
What makes it public right of way?
What
Well, if you
makes
have
it-
an
it's on a
easement,
section?
you'd have to have an
If it's on a
easement with the
section,
county, or it would have to be on a prescribed like section line where you already have kind of blanket easement with the.
You saying up to your house?
It's a private driveway.
Well, yeah, we got 3 people that live up there, we got 2 businesses on that road. And I was just wondering why it never gets snow plowed. You do the ones right next to it.
Well, the RV park's not open while it's being snow plowed, so that business is actually shut down. It's wait and see what happens with the restaurant, if they're open on weekends or what.
Well,
they're
it just
gonna do,
doesn't,
but-
I mean, that looks like it's a private driveway, so that's why it hasn't been getting
Yeah.
done, unless there's a public right of way that we don't know about, it's not on a section line. Then the county, if there's no easement for the county, then there's really no. I mean, that's a driveway that you can block off essentially if you.
I can't block it off.
Well, you can, I'm saying like the private individuals could block it off and say there's no access to it, I mean.
No, they can't. I own that road.
Right, my point is it's not public, like, it's not, like, you can't, like, somebody coming through there, it's a whole different topic than if it's like on a section line or Main Street of Linton, that's
Well, it
my
might be a
point.
different topic.
It's not, it's a different,
Could I intercede in this, the weed thing, is that okay?
well, the topic of this driveway here is that it's not public property, it's private property with easements with other private individuals, so it's your responsibility to maintain it.
Okay, that's what I wanna know.
That's what you got.
I'm gonna write that down. Okay, all right. That's it, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Randy.
Betty, you had something you wanted to say, excuse me, you wanna step up here, go ahead.
No, I was just going, no, I would just like to speak from here if I could. He was talking about weeds, but he probably left. I was wondering if you ever talked to CJ Pierce, or is there, or did he do that? I came late, so I don't know what he said.
He tried that multiple times.
Okay, cause I just talked to CJ Pierce this morning about stuff on Highway 34, and he's very good to work with, okay?
Yeah, there you go. Gotta have a lot of property to get your weeds sprayed, I guess.
No,
No,
it's,
I don't think so, Randy.
no, it's on Highway 34, it doesn't even belong to me.
It's on the right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's their first focus. They're really behind this year. It's when
They're behind.
they cannot go out and spray if the wind's over 10 miles an hour. So you about pick the days that we've had that this
You
year.
know, though, they probably should return a phone call, let people know.
Well, I don't,
I mean,
To
that-
maintain rapport.
being behind is no excuse to not
No.
return phone calls. I mean, they do work for the taxpayer, and when the taxpayer in the county calls, that, number one,
yeah,
you need to have space to allow a voicemail to be left. Number two, you need to return that call in a timely manner. Number three, you need to explain why you can't get to it.
Yeah.
And give them a reasonable time frame or other alternatives, like you said, cost sharing chemical, hiring somebody else.
yeah, I mean, you're right.
I don't roll with, I can get Randy's frustration, cause I don't roll with that crap.
Yeah,
We all work for the taxpayer. And that's why we get ourselves into trouble when we bicker back and forth with another taxpayer, even though they might be right or we might be right, and it turns into a fight. Because I don't feel like ignoring people is the right answer to work for them, so I just, I'm frustrated that we can't get back to people and give them at least a reason why we can't get to them, and that he's been waiting 1.5 years to get something, just an answer for criminy sake.
Did he
It's
call you to
ridiculous.
it? I never got a call from him.
No, this is the first time hearing about it, that's why I said I can't speak to why CJ said I can't help you. I think a little more information would have probably been, I would assume the situation is they're probably really far behind and maybe
Yeah.
shorthanded.
Yeah.
And they're probably really cutting down to some major priorities, which is probably working with the state, the Corps, that, you know, like obligations that they're probably contractually obligated to. And so some of these other folks that are individual landowners that normally would get taken care of, they're probably just, there probably should have been a little more communication on that.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying.
I haven't spoken to anybody, so I don't know if that's the case, I'm gonna assume, but I don't get a ton of complaints about the weed board, so I would say that these are probably some outliers and just some situations that, it doesn't mean they're doing a perfect job, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like, what's the 15th complaint I got this month, and
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
they probably need to work on the communication, they probably need to have some better policies on, like, you need to get back to people and you need to just tell them the situation and be upfront and offer some opportunity, right, like cost sharing. Here's a
Yeah.
list of contractors that'll do it. If we get caught up, we'll come help you out, but right now you're on a list that might not get done. And you probably would have a lot of these situations be avoided.
I had some that wasn't sprayed either last year, leafy spurs that I called them on.
Don't we still share with Logan County, right?
Yes.
Yeah, some of that stuff too is,
Yeah.
They
I
just-
mean, I understand, we're shorthanded, we're behind.
No.
I expect a phone call, that's my only thing. We gotta communicate with people, otherwise this is what we get. Like Derek said, if he had been communicated with back in 25, he would have never shown up here.
no, all right.
Right.
I mentioned it to CJ yesterday, I said, is this making you shorthanded by going into the other counties? He said, no, so you have 3 crews? He must
Why?
dispatch 2 crews to the other counties. And he said, all we do there is spray right away, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's priority.
That's priority, he said, you
I
know.
mean, I see them going, I mean, I
Yeah,
see
I
them
do
out,
too.
you know, just like I
I
said,
met one this morning.
we don't
Yeah.
micromanage their schedule, so I don't know their whereabouts, but I mean, I see them out and about, so.
Well, and that's, like I said, that's to Randy, that's why we have a board, we don't,
Yeah, it's not our,
we don't like you said, we don't micromanage. the board. I just feel like a phone call may have
Yeah.
diffused this situation a year ago.
It's poor handling.
Did you have something to say, Nick?
That was my question about Logan County.
Okay.
And they also
Betty?
do McIntosh County too, actually. The weed board does 3 counties, which is kind of crazy, but
oh
That's how it
boy,
is.
yeah, that's spread pretty thin.
Well, and the reason for that was because they were all having difficulties maintaining a crew too, I mean,
They couldn't get anybody.
it's not that we're doing it for them, it's a collaboration of cost sharing, because it's the way it's becoming with everything now, it's just, it's getting really difficult to find people that wanna work 4 months out of the year for a spray crew, you know, and so we've been able to recruit people, and we've had people like CJ around, and so then what do? Well, they look to us, same thing like when we need a we need a state's attorney or an emergency manager or
Yeah.
a sheriff's deputy, like we always reach out to your neighboring county. I think Logan and McIntosh, the plan was always they were trying to get their own crews, but. it's
Are they
obvious-
still trying, or they just?
Well,
probably
I
don't
mean,
do
that
it
would be a
anymore 'cause they
question
got
for
a-
like these 6 county meetings and stuff, is that if it's creating that kind of a burden on us,
Yeah.
that we're not getting our own stuff done, we need to reevaluate the system and then like see. Like, cause if they're just gonna lean on us all the time and have 1 or 2 people going out and doing some of their own stuff, like, that's obviously not working if
No,
we're gonna start having issues where we're not getting our own responsibilities done. So
Yeah.
that's probably a great topic to bring up the next time
Six
we're all
county.
together, is that this agreement worked out right away, but we're probably 2-3 years into that at least.
Couple years.
It's been a couple of years, so now it's like, what's the end game? Cause that needs to that, or if it's gonna be a tri-county collaboration, then we probably need to collaborate as 3 counties.
yeah,
And, you know, and
look at it.
exactly, so I would say that's probably as good a topic on any of this as evaluating our current situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Leonard did say he's gonna have a couple guys that are probably gonna not wanna do it another year, so he's gonna be in, they're gonna be in a personnel.
Also, another reason to probably,
Yeah.
you know, reinvigorate our conversation on how
I
we're gonna
think
handle
so.
weed spraying in the counties.
And it was, I did address it to CJ about consolidating that secretarial deal,
Yeah,
bookkeeping, billing, whatever, with the, road department. He said, well, it's gonna take some, not that it can't be done, but it'll take some effort to train someone. I said, well, it's like if I die or you die, you will train someone. It'd be a
to
lot
me,
more
it
efficient.
almost sounds like we need to be collaborating with other county weed boards rather than interdepartmental in our county. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's starting to sound to me like we need to have a tri-county weed board,
I
or
think
we need
so.
to go back to just being Emmons County, because
I
this
agree.
obviously is starting to,
Get
if you're starting to
both.
see cracks in the wall where it's like, Randy might not be the only one, and he's probably not the first or the last either, so
Over,
if there's 10 other people out there like him, then it's starting to maybe be an issue, so.
And you get into some big acreage, that takes time.
Well, and like you said, you
Oh,
go out there at
that's
10 o'clock
rough.
and you're gonna
Yeah.
spray 100 acres, and then the wind comes up at noon and you get
Yeah,
10 of it
that's
done,
what
like,
I
I mean,
yeah, they
there
got it.
can't be too much work on that board in a sense, because there's already way too much, so. I would say this probably needs to get reevaluated.
Okay. Next item is David Mock, abandoned cemeteries. Go ahead, Dave.
Have your podium, James.
Well, we only use it when we have a public hearing.
Oh, I'm just kidding, okay. Okay, to get you guys up to speed, because none of you were here, this goes back to 2012, and I copied this out of the minutes. So at the time, it was Francis Lawler was the chairman, Commissioner Dennis Hummel, Gary Keller, Jeff Magrum, Alvin Chosick, and, okay, I gotta start with the Braddock Cemetery. It's south side of Braddock and to the west, about a half a mile. So the original cemetery was 1905, but outside the cemetery, there was, graves put there before Braddock was there. So, and there's only 2 headstones there, so at the time, I was already wanting to protect the graves, you know, cause you can tell where there's other graves that aren't marked out there, so that I came, here's who, David Mock, Betty McLeish, Tom and Serena Peck, Sharon Miller, we came to the commissioners and asked about, machinery being parked on the graves and chemical jugs and stuff, and that land is owned by my cousin Clarence Mock from Napoleon. So we wanted the graves respected, whatever, so the commissioners all agreed. And, they went and looked at it, and, yeah, you can see there's on the right-hand side there, they eventually came to the county and surveyed that off and declared it a cemetery. So, here, I'll read that,
So that's fenced in also?
yeah, they fenced it in and they put 2 gates there. So here it says, this is the next meeting we came to. The board concluded the county should hire a surveyor and survey that off. Commissioner Magum and Chosick went to visit the farmer, which would be Clarence Mock, to remove his machinery. So eventually, we just got the machinery moved a few years ago. But that is a cemetery now, so I don't know how the county recorded it. Well, it's gotta be recorded because it was surveyed. So what the commissioners did at the time and Marlis can back me up on this, I think it was 1/10 of a mil they took from all the landowners, and that was to create a fund that would build over the years. So when we're all dead and gone, that the cemeteries that are abandoned would be taken care of. Now, this cemetery, we're getting enough donations to take care of it ourselves. But we were looking at, in the future, cause there's a lot of graves and abandoned cemeteries. So now we just found out a few weeks ago that our state legislature did away with that. And you can't do that, take money out of the mills. So the original money that was in there, I think they kind of used that up to fence this off and put those gates in. So, I guess what I'm here for, I got other information for you too, but what I'm here for is there a way that we can get around that, what the state did, and create a fund that'll build for the future? Cause right now you guys are allowing $3,000 a year to use. And now this is only for abandoned cemeteries, it's not for one connected with the church. But, Joe isn't here to ask, I guess, but is there a legal way that we can take money and do that? Did you find anything out, Marlis?
Yes, I did call and talk to, Windmer Road, who does our auditing. And I asked them if I could just establish a fund and we could just put like in a CD like you wanted.
You can't do that.
They said we could probably, like, if you wanted to put so much money away, like at the end of the year, we could probably keep track of it in a different kind of way, but they said, but we can't really, like, how do I want to say it, build it up.
Right, like the
So what-
legacy fund.
So what we did is, there used to be where you could levy 0.10 mils in an abandoned cemetery, and I had a special revenue fund for that. And then in 2015, during Jack Dalrymple's governor years, the legislators took that mill levy away from us, and they said, now the counties are responsible for maintaining abandoned cemeteries. But now you can levy so much or appropriate so much in the general fund. So that's what we do every year now. I appropriate so much in the general fund. But at the end of the year, whatever we don't spend becomes cash on hand in the general fund. We can't take that money and build it up in a special revenue fund and open a CD or whatever.
And you're doing 3,000 right now?
I'm doing 3,000 or 3,500 on that.
Okay.
I mean, and 0.10 mils at that time didn't bring in that much.
Right,
money.
that was
We had,
pennies.
Our valuation wasn't that high, it brought in like $1,500 or something, but so. I know that one year we had a cemetery, Ned Lawler was the road superintendent, we had a cemetery that he had to go in and build a fence around it and everything, and it cost like $2,500, and it pretty much depleted that fund, but I do, every year, they said what you have to do is every year just budget so much in your general fund, but you can't just.
Right.
You just
Well-
can't help yourself.
So, anyway, well, yeah, that's probably where a lot of the money went to fence off that Braddock one. But just, I looked up century code and Commissioner Miller looked it up too. It's century code 23-06-30, and it details what the county's responsibility is for taking care of abandoned cemeteries. It's quite to the point. There's an article in there, I think Commissioner Miller has it about Cass counties doing something. Probably most counties aren't, but we don't know that. But Cass County's on top of it. But I know this sounds like, this is a big deal, but I'm just gonna give you some examples now. I think if you get the people involved, a lot of the churches and private people will take care of a lot of these graves if they're just made aware that they should be taken care of. I mean, it's common sense, they should be, but. So west of Hazelton, there's a Gayton Cemetery, or Gimbel Cemetery it's called.
Yeah.
Like Leo Olhauser is mowing that one pretty much by himself, I think. And then there's Sand Creek, that's Joe and Marlena Gunya. Isn't that called Sand Creek where Mike's buried?
Yeah.
So they're doing that one. And Commissioner Miller and I were just out to the Merkel Cemetery west of Tenvik. And Mike Appert owns that land, but Danny Lollinger rents the pasture. And we were gonna go out and do it for the county one time, and he just went out and mowed it the other day.
Danny
Trimmed.
Longer did.
What?
Danny Longer did,
Yeah, Danny Longer did.
Who does the St. Bernard's out there?
the Catholic Church does.
Yeah,
Do they?
so,
Okay.
well, the Lutheran Church took over one east of Tenwick. Catholic Church took over Sacred Heart and St. Bernard. So what I'm saying, I haven't even talked to anybody in the south part of the county, but I'm sure a lot of these are being taken care of and, but it's the single graves and that we need to, you know, find, are you all aware of the cemetery book that's in Marlis's office? Have you seen it? Okay, I should have brought it in. Well, anyway, Ron Kramer put that together back in the nineties, I think.
Yeah.
And, he did
Extensive.
a good service to the county.
No. This was Ron Kramer was from Linton.
I just
Oh,
talked,
from out west and Winton.
yeah, west and north.
Okay.
So that handout that did Josh give it to you on that, you guys got a quick read that on the soldiers that are buried out here? So I gave a copy of that to Brad Huber, he's gonna look into it.
And those are the ones on the east side of the Braddock Cemetery?
No, these are out here west of Linton and north, Daryl Saint owns, it's in his pasture, these are military graves.
Really?
So I called the veterans up in Mandan Cemetery, and they didn't really seem to be interested in helping, you know, but Brad Huber's gonna look into it, what could be done with those. I called Leroy McTerry last night, and he said that it's been a long time since he was out there, but the cows had knocked the headstones over and stuff. So that has to be fixed, but, and I called the State Historical Society and they're gonna get back to me. So it just comes down to, I guess, like to see if we can start taking care of some of these. Cause Ron Kramer, he marked them back in the nineties. But we already found a couple that he missed. But by my place, there's a baby's grave that, Eddie Schmidt found in a family Bible description. It's out by Edward Scher's pasture.
Really?
So,
There's gotta be one just east of Linton on the south side where there's always a flag floating.
yeah, that's a
Soldier.
that's a soldier.
Eagles land, yeah.
These, that Merkel Cemetery west of Temwick, that is owned by the county.
Yeah, Josh looked it up. That the church must have signed it over to the county.
Yeah, it was deeded to the county.
And that's what I was gonna ask you yesterday, Josh, how many other ones are deeded to the county cemeteries? Something we have to find out.
Yeah, they gave me time to look at it.
I know, that's why I called yesterday.
I wouldn't think it'd be many. That's odd that they signed it over to the county, but.
You know,
Well, I don't even know if they'd be assigned over to the county, they just become.
This is
abandoned.
interesting with these soldiers here.
Well, I mean, all graves are important, but, you know, you got there are veterans. It's no different than a veteran of today.
Yeah, right.
They should be respected, so.
Ralph, you got something to say?
Yeah, on these soldiers, there's also another cemetery in Saints pasture further west.
Insane's pasture,
Yeah.
Well, that's the ones,
the one you're.
that's what this description is, I think.
Well, I thought this, you had a picture of, there was one that below Winchester Butte.
Right,
Well, see, there might be two sites, cause Joe Gunny told me his dad was always talking about, there's three buried.
so
Somewhere
this
else.
description is for this quarter right here.
Is that Daryl Sains?
No
No?
material.
This would be on the south side of 13,
Oh, really?
just west of Sand Creek. And it's like
South side of 13. By
out in the
Sand
pasture.
okay.
Really?
There's also one, mile south of Dougie Beekers on a section line,
Yeah, we know about that one.
and,
to it.
Yeah.
That's not fenced either.
I'm not sure.
Were we at that one?
There was a cemetery out that way, that's the one that Marcy was talking about, that Nick built that fence on,
Yeah.
that was out somewhere
Yeah.
towards Doug Beekler's and, cause
Some
Right,
was
the
there.
I
that
can't
one,
remember the gentleman.
I
that
think that was
Karen-
the first year I was commissioner, and then Nick went out there and they built just like a 3-wire barbed wire
Yeah.
fence,
Guns or
smooth
something.
wire fence or something like that
Cleaned
out
it
there.
up really good, yeah.
Yep, they went out and built that, and we used those funds for that. And
Well, the
then,
county's just gotta keep appropriating funds in their general. fund.
right, because we did that, was that last year, 2 years ago, we did the Tresipol cemetery there, that's the one on the northeast of Strasburg.
Yep, yep.
'Cause there
Gary
used to be,
Hager got him.
Gary Hager's the one that came, and then,
Yeah.
And then we put an approach.
Put an
Yep.
approach and a culvert.
right, so I mean, we've been doing it as it comes up, I would say,
That's
the
old
big thing is
Strasburg
this,
location by Strasburg East.
yeah, we
Well,
don't,
literally, you could take hog panels, and if it's just a single grave, and put 4 steel posts in and, you know, cut the panels, I mean, that'd be quicker than a barbed wire, nothing can get in then, but, well, that's interesting with these military ones, I'll have to look for them. So obviously, there's 2 sites.
to be
So-
honest with you, we should probably have someone that's just at least getting these up to date, like this conversation right here.
What you're
Like,
entertaining there.
Right.
you know, like maybe somebody that just goes around and tries to isolate these properties and make sure that, you know, either a church is maintaining them or an individual or the county, you know, cause some of these are getting maintained by individual families, it's
Right.
either like it was maybe a church cemetery, but 15 out of the 20 graves are one family or
Right,
something, you know,
well-
and so like, there are a lot of them out there, actually, a lot of them, like, there's, you know, if you start watching, there's, you know, as somebody that digs graves, it's like, I've been to a lot of cemeteries that, you know, you get out to some of these places, they don't get used no more, cause there's no church no more out
Right.
there, and most of the families have gone away, and so there's one grave a decade out at some, like St. Boniface and like Tell Cemetery, and some of these are very, very low activity.
In the century code, it actually says no more, people can be buried in abandoned cemetery.
Mhm.
Right.
So like the Merkel Cemetery, you couldn't bury somebody out there now.
Are there any more bodies buried in this Braddock Cemetery? Or do they all go up on the hill?
Well, they go in the
The old
main
pies.
cemetery, we're burying people,
Right.
you know, every once in a while, but outside, no, because. You know, obviously it was just declared a cemetery, but we don't, you can tell where the graves are settled, you know, but you
They're,
don't. wanna
they're
put
right
people-
around that big shrub more than anything,
Yeah.
right in there, and that's.
Well,
where-
along the fence, right where you go in there
Right,
too, there's a.
Because I've dug graves in the Braddock Cemetery, in the regular one, cause that's got a tree perimeter and a fence, but
Could you
then
bring that up
outside of
again,
it,
Josh?
those graves are, I don't know if they're completely unmarked, but the markings are covered by shrubs and, you know, like
Okay.
there
See-
might be a stone on the surface, right where that big shrub is there, kind of that
Well,
dot.
there's a grave, and Betty knows this too, right
Right.
north of the shrub.
Yeah, so right on
There's
that,
a baby grave, a headstone, I
on the
remember.
right side of that tree row, there's like one shrub there, like,
Okay, right where that
yep,
entry.
right there,
Yeah,
Kind
right
of
where
in
that
that-
entryway is
Yep.
though, Aaron,
yep.
right along that line there, north and south, there's a bunch of dips where there's graves.
Right, 'cause I always remember as a kid, when we would go in there and then, you know, if you were driving the dump truck or something, then Dad always said, make sure you stay on the road, because you don't wanna veer, you know, you don't wanna take a wide turn, because there is unmarked stuff in that was even before he was commissioner, so I mean, it's been well known, it's just that, like you said, the biggest issue with these cemeteries is like anything else, some of them still are, that it's technically private property if there's no easements, or they're still a church somewhat maintaining, or the church is disbanded now, and the step that got missed was they should assign it to the county then if the church is not gonna take care
Well,
of it.
this one was always a community cemetery, but
I'm just saying the outside part,
Yeah.
Dave, you know, like that, like everybody knew about it, but nobody maybe finished that last step where it's like, you should
we
really
did,
get.
yeah.
Right, but like
Yeah.
now, a guy should go in and try to, you know, see if you can somewhat mark them better
Well,
and get
we-
them preserved as best you can.
What I was told back then, if this is true or not, the Clarence still owns it, and he has to pay taxes, but he can't do anything with it, cause it's declared a cemetery now.
Well, I think that's the case with a lot of these properties, there's
Oh,
like a, you know, cause even that Tresipol one, I
I
can't.
think that's Albert Feist, isn't it?
That land, I think, is private with an easement on it or something, so, and they have a fence around it now, and there's.
Well, would you think, Aaron, is like a grave out, these military graves, I mean, we know the county's supposed to take care of them, but as the landowner, does he?
Well, you know, I can just tell you that what's happened is like this, the Tresipol Cemetery here. You know, Gary Hager has multiple family members out there, And he basically just kinda got involved, I didn't know it existed really, I mean, yeah, I knew like you drive by there's like a cemetery
Yeah,
out there.
you
'Cause
see it once you're
the
away.
church used to be, I think, on the north
Yep.
side of that.
Here's this at.
This is
That was
northeast of Strasburg. So there used to be a church out there, like a country church,
Which became the convent.
and then the church either got moved or burned down, right?
It got moved.
Okay, so the church got moved. Well, then naturally, as people didn't attend church out there, people weren't getting buried out there no more. Well, the place was falling to weeds and branches and so that gravelled area now, and that's what we use the abandoned
Yep.
cemetery funds to try and build an access road, because otherwise it was getting literally farmed around. Well, if they grew things like corn and stuff, you couldn't even get to the cemetery.
Couldn't get into it, and that was being mined, there was a gravel pit there,
Right
which
to the
there is to
south
the
there,
east.
yep.
And they were mining gravel, and I don't know if
Oh, right there.
I don't know anybody fell into
Well,
the
see,
gravel
that's-
because they were picking it.
Ron Kramer marked a lot of these graves with white PVC pipe,
Yeah,
but you know, the farmer's gotta have another foot of
Oh, yeah,
ground
they did that.
always, and they're encroaching on these cemeteries. The one the Lutherans are taking over, I talked to somebody that had been out there, and they said, yeah, we had to do something, because the farmer kept moving in, I don't know who it was, but. So, my whole point in bringing this up is I just think we need to, well, I know everybody here respects graves, but we just need to take care of these somehow, and especially find out about those military ones.
Isn't there a lot more out by the Missouri River?
Well, the
Well, I
Ron
know-
Kramer, you look at that book, Dan, he's got everything in there, he did a lot of work.
Yeah, you did do a lot of
Oh, yeah,
work.
look at that.
So I called that number, Craig, this morning, that is Cynthia Kramer, that's his daughter, she lives in Kansas City. Just got off the phone a while ago, she grew up out there about a half mile south of these military graves, and she said, we played by the graves when we were kids. And, so, I mean, they're definitely out there, we just have to look at it, I guess, and see who's responsible, cause in that century code, it says the county's responsible for restoring the headstones even.
Right.
But here, I think the military would have to get involved and help restore them, I don't know. But I know this sounds a little crazy, but the amount of phone calls I got just from talking to people on the street, everybody's for taking care of these graves. And I kinda thought of this myself, it's kinda like adopt a grave. If you got that going in the county, I think you'd have more volunteers than you think, so not that much would fall on the county, I don't think, you know, with people.
Well, I don't think financially it's really gonna be an issue for the county. The biggest thing is just like, there needs to be someone, whether it's volunteers from the community, something that just like know about these sites and cause I would say the reason why something isn't getting taken care of out there is cause we probably just don't know about it.
Right,
And-
exactly.
And who's the point person that's gonna be taking on abandoned cemeteries, which I don't think it's a bad idea to have someone, but like I don't think any of this is an issue other than what's the best way to do it,
Right,
you know?
now the one out by Howard Garner's, is that in the book
Yeah,
again?
it's in there, it's on the cemetery.
Yeah.
That was misplaced on the map, I think Josh got it straightened out, right, Josh?
That's, which one, Leo?
Yeah, there's a lilac bush out there, we dug our way in there a couple Sundays ago, and there's a fence in there about 20 by 20, so there's
Really?
people buried.
See, like, that's just wild.
Well, everybody,
That's crazy.
everybody plants that little lilac bush,
Oh, yeah, a little
And
choke
then-
cherry tree.
50 year,
Well, I
100
guess
year.
it's probably a good grave marker, at least you know where the stuff, I mean, cause the
Yeah, when
trouble
you
is,
think-
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if you lived 10 miles east of town, you're, it's not like nowadays where everybody takes them to town and then they go to
Yeah,
like one of the
south-
4 cemeteries, you know, like.
They
Back in
bring a
those
lot of
days,
respect
yeah,
and they plant a little seed.
they buried them right outside, you know, and so there's,
Yeah, I saw the check.
Good organic matter as we decompose for that
well,
tree.
and I would say there's probably a lot
That's
more
the
out,
best.
Ah,
I mean, you start asking folks, I bet you everybody knows about some little
Something
site
going on
out there,
somewhere.
yeah, I mean, it's.
So Marlis has got the cemetery book in her office and it can't leave the office, but she was nice enough to let me take it to Bismarck here a week ago and I had 2 more copies made of the book. And there's one at the Linton Library too. So we got enough copies of the book, so everything's in there.
Wasn't that?
Would the Veterans Affairs get involved in this, Brad,
Was
or
that
not?
county too?
Good, which one?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's gonna check, that's why I asked him.
I kinda feel like the Emmons County Historical Society would be another avenue.
Would be another
I mean,
That's the.
Well, I wanna find out if there's military records to show that they're buried out there.
Right, but I'd say just to get more people involved, like this historical society, this kinda seems like this is something that would fall into there where they could be doing some research on some of this stuff.
Well, Alan Burke just tried calling me a little bit ago, I guess he was just out there a week or two ago.
Cause at least if they could identify them and bring them forward to us so we could move that process, cause that'll be the hardest thing is just figuring out where they are. Who owns the land, once that, you could start declaring some of these cemeteries, get some fences built around, do things like that, but.
Well, you got the scouts and your 4-H groups too, they could take one of those on too.
Well, I'm just saying, those are the kinds of
Be a good
groups that.
little activity for them.
Well, we need to teach the young ones when we're gone.
Yeah.
That there's a reason to take care of the graves, that's my whole point, cause we're all getting older. You know, not Aaron, he's still young, but.
You got more hair than I do. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a worthy cause, I just think we need to figure out, we need to get some kind of task force or get the historical society, like you said, the VA office, get a few of these get together and start figuring out where at least the majority of them are. You probably won't find them all, but at least some of the well-known ones, we should get them before
Oh, yeah,
they're not well-known.
before they're gone.
Yeah, well, Ron marked most of them, so.
Well, we've been appropriating funds, and I mean, if it gets to a point where those funds aren't enough, we'll have to figure out another option that,
Right, well, that's all I wanted to bring to your attention,
Yeah.
so thanks for your.
Thanks for
time,
coming
you
in
guys.
Thanks,
to
Dave.
bring it to our attention. Anything else? Anyone else? Nope, okay, so we'll move on. Item F is departmental 2027
No,
budget.
you got
What is
Brad
it?
Huber yet.
Oh, Brad, excuse me, Brad, I'm sorry,
Do both, same way
Excuse
you
me.
do, the budget too. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, printed out for you, my usual quarterly, review. Number of veterans is pretty close to the same. Services definitely gone up. So, which is good. They're coming to my office and they're asking questions. The second page that's attached is, again, if you're curious, what I do when I'm drinking Mai Tais at the hotel bar is, what the training is. And this one was in, Fargo. So, and that's generally, it conveniently works out to about as many hours as I work. It's generally, it's 19 to 20 hours worth of work. As usual, quarterly training at the bottom. Assisted with the vet center mobile RV. That was pretty interesting experience. I've spoken with the one that was in Bismarck, but this guy came out of Fargo, and it was nice that he spent the day in Linden for the ag days. I put the quilts of valor in Hazelton. I also put in parentheses, I was also awarded it, but awarded a quilt. I wasn't expecting to also speak at it too, so outside of, I guess, VSO duties, so I figured I'd put that in there for, I guess you can take that however you want. Other than that, if you got questions for me.
Anybody?
You got headstone or marker applications, what does that entail?
That is a combination of when veterans, like you'll see in the cemeteries where they got the inlay in the ground.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
For veterans that aren't in the veteran cemetery, they can request most of them get the inlay in the ground, but there's other options. There's even placards if they want.
yeah, we've seen them in Aberdeen where they're mounted on the back.
Yeah, that's a VA program where, now,
They're mounted where?
On the backside of the grave.
you get something, you can either, it's like a brass placard you can mount on a headstone, or you can get a headstone, or you can get, a lot of veterans, the family will get something, they'll get it laid in a piece of concrete slab and then it just lays flush with the ground.
A lot of times they're on the foot end.
Yeah. And that's a VA program where you submit that for veterans.
So Brad, could you do something with the military graves that are on, that are out?
I gotta check on that because that's a whole different, when you
Yeah.
get further back, like, for instance, World War I veterans, that's a whole different
That's way.
process to request headstones for that, different funding, everything.
Yeah.
I could check into it,
Yeah.
and it'd just be a matter of,
Yeah, you wouldn't really know, even how do you know that, you wouldn't even have the names, I would presume.
well, I'd have to get the names and verification that they were veterans, so
Yeah.
I'd have to probably give
That's
it
good, too.
historical
Is there
records.
names in this book of these soldiers?
I don't think.
We haven't looked at that yet, but.
Okay.
Take a little research or a lot of research.
Well, I mean, the only thing I would add, since we're kinda on that subject again too, is like, I mean, I've been to the Heritage Center, I mean, this kind of stuff is right up the alley of like even the state preservation, historical preservation office and stuff, I mean, there's probably a few different places we can look at for some of those really older sites, where, I mean, it's one thing to maintain a cemetery everybody knows about and somebody just doesn't wanna do it no more, it's another thing with some of these really old sites, I mean, you should probably even reach out to the state historical, I mean, there could
That's
be some.
historic.
Or maybe maybe they'd come in and wanna, excavate the area a little bit, try and find more, I mean, some of the stuff we don't have to take on ourselves, there's other, entities that can do stuff like this, at least be worth the call
That's
up
where I
there.
called this morning to the Historical Society,
Did you?
but she didn't, they're gonna get back to me.
Oh, okay, well, that's not exciting. Hope they're better than the weed board.
Yeah.
I'd have to think if there was anything, like, headstones would come from that, it would probably come from like the North Dakota Historical Society.
Oh, that's where they would come from.
Yeah, you would think that would generate interest in them.
Well, I mean, it's just like any other state entity, there's probably a division for like, maybe lost, like, you don't know unless you ask, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
If you ask and they say they're not interested, don't fit their mold, then I guess you try it, but if you don't ask, you never know.
Give you credit, Mark.
Yep.
Anything else, Brad?
That's it, I guess we can segue into the next, I think I'm first on the list for the budget.
Yep. Congratulations on that honor too, on the
Oh, thank you,
Hazelton.
thank you.
Good job. That was interesting.
Yeah, I made it easy, I didn't really change anything, largely due in part because I'm starting to realize there's additional things I'm probably gonna need, technology wise. Card readers, signature readers, scanners, things like that, which aren't huge ticket items. One in particular, there's I guess a VA program, but that requires a PIM card, I think they're called. It's just, you gotta go get an ID card, and we'll have to go to Fargo for that, get training, and then get a security card for that. The benefit of that is that it better allow me to access the VA files, veteran files from this county. And I'd have a better purview of like claims and anything else that was submitted through the VA system. Current system I'm going now is a state program, whereas it's just run by the state, so no one else can see it, but I can only view the veterans that are in Emmons County that are assigned to me. That's kind of how that one works, and that's what I've been doing, where I've been forwarding a lot of paperwork through there. However, having a signature where they can digitally sign it would greatly improve that, and having this would allow me to view the progress of any veteran's claim. So that's probably the biggest thing why I kept my technology budget the same. Other than that, all the numbers are same as last year.
Same as. Anything else, guys?
No,
That's it, thank you.
Thanks, that's it. Thank you, Brad.
Can't be mad at a department that's keeping their budget the same, not much to say, thank you, Brad.
Yep.
yeah, for sure.
Hi,
Alright,
how are you?
good, it's crazy today, we have
Man,
our,
are there vehicles out there?
we have our
What's going on?
achievement days, so
Yeah,
our
you're busy.
this week. So today is statics judging, so before you guys leave, stop downstairs, check out some of the statics projects. They are serving a ham sandwich lunch, I believe, so if you're interested in eating concessions for lunch.
Time's that?
At noon?
It's like now until 1 o'clock. Those kids get pretty hungry, they're ready for lunch at 10 o'clock when they've been
We're resuming the
judging.
meeting down the auditorium, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And the purple ribbon, or not purple ribbon, cause it's, Grand Reserve and honorable mention now, is at 12:30, so if you wanna check out that, but, so that's what's going on, I'm gonna be real brief. I'm not gonna go over the quarterly narrative, I'm just gonna hand it out.
Okay,
If that's okay.
that's fine.
But certainly you guys have any questions, give me a call, give Nancy a
Okay.
call. Just wanted to go stop up here quick, cause it's the budget hearing or
Yep.
initial budget. So you guys have, in your binders, the extension budget.
Yep.
Very little changes, left off right now, what Vicky Schwab's salary will be, just because I'm waiting to see what you guys decide in terms of raises and whatnot. So, our preliminary budget isn't really complete because we're waiting for those numbers. So till you guys come up with that, I don't have anything in there for that one. The only increases is just a small increase to office supplies and then, an increase to travel, just because of the cost of mileage is getting kinda, more all the time. But, you know, that doesn't mean we'll necessarily spend it, but it's good to have there just in case, we end up having to do a lot of traveling and the mileage doesn't go down at all. But those are, that's it. No,
That's it.
no other increases other than salary.
Okay, okay.
But if you have any questions,
Postage is gonna go up.
I feel like
I heard that.
Is it
we
going up
don't
again?
mail stuff unless we have, I mean, we mail like,
Yeah,
we have to
you-
mail samples and stuff like that, but we
Yeah.
don't, like, in terms of mailings, we really don't do mailings like we used to, cause we
We
can't
don't.
afford to. It's just.
Yeah, it's
gotten-
getting it's 80, I think they're going to 82 cents.
Yeah, or we try to tag on with some partners.
82 cents to send a letter.
It's kinda crazy, right?
Insane.
Well, I mean,
But when you
they
think.
pay
of it,
the
they
same
scoot around
cost
the
of
country.
fuel we do,
I
the
was
same
just-
tire, I mean, you know, it's what it is.
Yeah.
Still losing billions of dollars.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's not, you
Yeah,
know,
they
the cost of delivering mail doesn't get cheaper just because it's subsidized by the taxpayers, I mean, if
So,
anything, it gets more.
If you get
expensive.
tired of us harassing you on a text message or something like that, just, we were saving a stamp, right, when we remind you about a meeting or something.
That's what's gonna
fine.
get you off the hook, is the fact that you're saving, I'll tell you what, probably pay $2, no. Thanks, Keisha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
Well,
questions?
appreciate it.
Okay, you guys have a
Appreciate
good,
it, probably do it now. Okay?
sounds good.
You're next, guy. Morning, Craig.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Well,
First of all, I gotta ask you, this curb out in front when we walk up the stair,
I'm,
what do you do, what happened there?
that's from just years of salting and stuff like that, and it's just slowly kind of giving away.
Way to go, you're a genius.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, that's, I've got Chris,
So what are you gonna do, have it redone?
yeah, it's just, it's whatever Chris usually does for the curb and gutter type
Okay.
stuff, it's when he gets to it, is when he gets to it, that's why I haven't been in a big hurry to paint or anything like that, so there's no reason to waste the paint.
Salt is an enemy.
Oh, it's terrible on concrete,
Oh.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but ice is hard on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times.
Just saying.
Ice is also hard on the
Fix some
pocket.
concrete every 20 years to stay on a wheelchair.
It's also hard.
But
on
it
our
raises
budget.
hell.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's also hard on our budget.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Could be if somebody really takes a tumble.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
salt's
absolutely.
cheap.
So to be honest with you guys here, obviously, I'm gonna be kind of heel tone a little bit like the vacation was just talking with you about, so mine's still kind of blank for the salary aspect of everything for you. The big thing I've got is my part-time salary, that's gonna be carrying over from last year to this year, so that's gonna stay at 3,000. The other big one is that I have is there's a new line item this year for capital outlay, I'm looking at getting a new desk for downstairs in my office, cause it's served its purpose. And so I've kind of got one picked out that I've been looking at to go with this. Will actually probably come into that $750 budget for that one. And then my other big one is here, my supplies is actually dropping down from 5,000 to 3,000, so that's really you know, the only big differences I have from last year, or from this year to next year.
Okay,
Looks good.
How are your supplies going down? Are you just that efficient?
To be honest with you, I really don't buy that much in supplies.
Okay. I'm just kinda curious, I would expect that.
Yeah.
So I had that question right when I first looked, but if you look back at previous years, it looks like maybe 5,000 might have just been a
Oh, yeah.
little heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you're like, you're probably using about 2 to 2,500-ish, and so even at $3,000, you're.
Yeah.
it's still, it's more in line where it should be, to be
Right.
fair with you. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, like I said, with going through years past here, and the 5,000 has been, I'm not coming really super close to that, so
Right.
in my opinion.
5,000 was probably
That's a lot.
generous.
Right, yeah, that was kind of more for just like an overage, just in case something went over on something else.
Kudos for making the reduction at least.
Yeah, right, looks good.
Just make sure, like, yeah, like if the
I
budget's
get
running tight, don't like start cutting on toilet paper and stuff,
Yeah.
we can pay that.
Oh,
I
I tell you what.
Appreciate you saving money, but make
Yeah,
sure we got to it.
we're not going to single play, trust me.
No, I don't see any issues.
No,
any issues, anybody?
no.
Then about the only other one I have for you too is I don't know if Marlis has talked with you about that one for the, capital projects for the courthouse here. I think we're going from last year or for this year, we're at 90,000, we're gonna be bringing that down to 30,000 for that one.
I've got that a few pages back, I'm sorry.
Well, usually that's kinda under you, right, Marlis, that's why it's in the back.
Yeah. Capital projects courthouse. And that's just to do some, put in there for some roof repairs.
Right, but I'm assuming we're kinda getting caught up on the roof repairs and stuff, that's why you're reducing it though, like.
Correct, yeah, because this year will be the last section that we have that need attention paid to it. After that one, it's gonna be.
How's that coming along with that door deal that you were working on? Doors, your locks?
It's, finally got them down here, was it last week or the week before, to finally do a remeasure on everything, so the process has been, starts moving now. Yeah.
So pretty much everything in your budgets either went down or stayed the same.
For the most part,
Can't beat a deal.
What a deal.
all right.
Thanks.
You guys got any questions for me?
No, great job, Craig.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Keep doing it.
Wouldn't wanna be in these departments after these guys, gosh.
Joe was supposed to be next, but
Joe, what?
Joe was supposed to be next, but I think he's in a hearing.
Is it a hearing? We'll wait till he comes back in to address it.
So Josh, you would be next.
GIS coordinator Josh.
//
Well,
I'm
you're
not
gonna make up all that,
slash,
you're gonna make up all that savings right now.
I kept it the same though, so.
Yeah.
No slashing. Yeah, essentially, kept everything on the bottom the same, I left the top half blank, seems like that's what everybody's doing right now, until you guys decide cost of living, whatever, it's that all. Also I requested a step increase for additional duties that have been going on with planning, zoning. Other things with this, so. Other than that, that's it, so just, if you guys do anything with cost of living, rest of the budget's same. Any questions?
Well, I don't know how much it gets said, but I'm gonna say it again, I think you do a heck of a job.
Hey,
And a lot of the avenues and improvements that we've had around here, you're a big reason for that.
yeah.
Everything from the, I know, well, Craig too, right, but I'm just saying, even just like the putting this stuff on you, Craig, it is true, Craig deserves a lot of applause for it too, the public hearings, the planning and zoning stuff, I've been to a couple of those public hearings, I mean, you guys do a great job setting up, I mean,
This is.
we're more transparent than we've ever been, it's getting better all the time, I mean.
And we definitely need to improve, me and Craig to talk about this, audio, you know, sometimes when you watch the YouTube videos, it's hard to hear, if we had a more professional system, I don't know, I'm not too good at all that, Craig's somewhat knowledgeable on how we go about that, but.
Right, yeah, that's one of the things where, we've been kind of looking into getting some more professional audio equipment to get some better sound qualities. Like I say, I know when you go online and you do watch the YouTube videos, it is kind of
It's tough to hear.
Yeah, because it's, big thing is, we're kind of borrowing the courthouse's
Yep.
overhead system here, but we're really only recording off the owl and the satellite microphone for that stuff. So for the video, that's what we're getting our audio off of. So it's kind of one of them things where I'd like to get some more microphones that will kind of be sitting next to what you guys have up here. We're trying to figure out a way where we can plug things in, then we can run direct audio straight to the laptop for when we record.
Well, and
What's on your budget?
Well, I would encourage it, and just because I think that's something everybody enjoys. I mean, the ability to go and watch a meeting 2 weeks later, or to go through, I mean,
Correct.
and to actually be able to hear, like, I don't think folks want video that they can't see or hear very well, like, so I would say even for this board and the value of the transparency, I think investing money into making sure that we don't need to have the best process in the state, but we should have a process that people can enjoy to watch. Like, it should be enjoyable to watch it, understand it.
Correct.
So, I know we started out in the bare minimum, but I think we've proven that it's something that, it's not going away.
It's not.
It's not like, well, we tried that, nobody liked it. I think everybody enjoys it. And so,
The old business.
I would encourage you, like, it doesn't have to be right now, but just in the future, like, wanting to expand on it, or, another county or state entity that has a really nice process that you can figure out what they're using, or even if you wanna try something else,
Yeah, to be super fair with you, kind of my goal is to kind of mimic very similar to what Dakota Sound does for when they do the big board meetings or the big hearings that they do.
yeah, like the PSC and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, but I'm not that aggressive with what them guys are doing, because they have got some very, very nice professional equipment.
Right, but there's gotta be tiers to that where you can still
Absolutely,
improve
yes.
our process. And I
Absolutely.
think that's the big thing that, should come from this board, is that the idea of not only just continuing what we're doing, but improving it, because I think it's something everybody enjoys.
Right, and the big thing I've been kind of looking at for doing that stuff too is where if we ever move downstairs, or we do have another big meeting with the community and what have you, it'll be able to be portable, where we can move it back and forth from upstairs down to the auditorium, tying it with the other audio equipment we have down there as well that we put in a couple years ago.
Well, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you again, guys. Both of you.
Yep, we'll continue to improve that.
Yeah,
Like you do it.
thank you guys.
Thanks. Next.
Robin.
Hi, Robin, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Okay, I'll start with the bottom. Pretty much all my stuff within the office.
Pull up the mic, Robin, please.
Yep, pretty much all of my stuff in the bottom has stayed the same. Haven't increased anything down there except the DocuPro stuff. And then up top, for Micah, I did an increase in what everyone else is doing, like Josh said, a 5% COLA. Increase with Micah, reasons would be, she's gained another year's worth of experience, and she has also taken on doing the county website. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at the website, but I think she did a really good job on doing what she's been doing. I know I wouldn't wanna do it.
No, I wanna, yeah, so Mary used to do our website, and we got set up to this new website, and this new, I forget what it's called, Craig might remember. WordPress, it's WordPress, but anyways, doing the website's not simple, and I started doing it, but I kinda passed it on to Micah, cause my plate was full. And, yeah, so I agree with a step or whatever increase is going on there, because that website is a pain. Oh my god, yeah, but she's doing a great job.
Well, and the website gets used heavily, like, it is something, I point people to it all the time when they call me about how to get a permit, or,
There's a lot of
things like hours, it's like, well, you can call in, or you can just, Google it on your phone, and so the website is very valuable, and on top of that, we really don't have an IT person.
Yeah.
We kinda just fall to default, which is usually either Josh or Craig, or now Micah's gonna get lumped to that because she does the website, so you kinda do inherit the IT responsibility once people view you as like.
Yeah, cause I believe she uploads she puts on the commissioner.
I send her the agenda and minutes and stuff.
Yeah, so she uploads that and everything too.
Oh, that's good.
Wayne, I increased his, a bit because he has, well, again, also another year worth of experience. And not only has he had extra training within my office, but he's been in other departments in the courthouse, and he has very good knowledge in other offices as well, and has been able to help people. Other things with Wayne too is he has taken on many responsibilities. He has 2+ now years of experience, and he's gone up to Bismarck and added training, and he has taken on a lot of responsibilities. I was on maternity leave for 3 months, and he took on the role of 2 people basically, and did a phenomenal job at handling everything. I think maybe he called me 3 times to just questions that he had that we were able to figure out over the phone, but other than that, he has been able to handle the office very well and all the extra responsibilities that he has taken on. And then for myself, I just asked for either an increase in the step or the 5% COLA as everybody else, so. That's it for me.
What's your present steps on these 3 positions?
Right now I'm at a 9-1. Right now Micah is at a 6-1. And Wayne is at a 6-2. And I believe with the responsibilities that have increased in the office alone, I think anybody, even just walking in and starting off, should at least be at a 7 with the amount of responsibilities that the deputy clerks are responsible for. And then, yeah, just with the work that he's done and the improvement he's had as well, I think a 7-2 is very reasonable for Wayne.
This is a 40-hour, and this is a 37.5.
Well, it looks good to me, Robert.
I think the only thing I was gonna bring up is our earlier discussion, talking about things like abandoned cemeteries and stuff like that. If there's any information in the recorder's office possibly, or something that just,
I can do some more looking, but I've looked, twice now, Micah has looked,
okay.
I don't know if Josh has, he looked a little bit.
I can see if there's deeds,
Yeah.
but these abandoned ones not.
For abandoned, just like personal, family-owned cemeteries, we just don't have anything.
There's just not a lot of information recorded. Okay.
Mm-mm.
One to him.
Well, that's for just, yeah,
I
I mean,
can
if you
look
guys
up in
could,
Bismarck or something, but I don't see that if Bismarck would have any information when it's not the county, I don't know that they would have.
well, I mean, you could just maybe collaborate with Brad when he starts working on it, maybe Joshua, just to, I mean, as much
Yeah.
information as we can put together, the better, so.
Yeah, I can try, but, I'll look again, not a problem.
Cause the only other place would probably be down in the dungeon.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm getting a couple looks, like have you guys ever been in the dungeon?
No, I haven't been in the dungeon.
Well, the dungeon is where all the records are from the,
Way back.
Past.
all of them. And, I think some of that was getting put on like microfilm and things like that over the years, or, you know, I know Anita was kinda working on some, but there's a lot. There's a lot.
Take a while.
I've been down there once, is the reason why I haven't gone back, but it's terrifying down there. There's like 4 light bulbs on like a
Yeah.
hallway that's like 100 feet long, so.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's.
By the time I
like
get
I said,
to back to all my stuff, I can't even see the front door.
I mean, it's preserved down there, it's not like they're falling apart, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
why you call it the dungeon, it's dark, there's not a lot, I mean, it's.
Something from Alfred.
And it's overflowing, cause like you said, the age of Emmons County, I mean, all the historical
Yeah.
records are down there, so I mean, you
Yeah.
literally have to dig through them one by one, so, but
Yeah,
What a job.
anyway.
yeah,
Sounds like we need to set up a tour of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lunch hour,
Yeah, not this lunch hour, I mean.
might not come back.
Okay,
okay.
thanks, Rob.
Thank you,
Okay,
Robert.
thank you, Robert.
Guys.
Tax director,
It's
Christine.
technically a vault, but I called it the dungeon, cause it's dark.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Christine.
Okay, start at the top with, salaries. Right now I'm at, grade 1 or grade 9, step 1. So now I'm fully certified, I will be here 2 years shortly. So I thought, a grade 9, step 4 would be an accurate spot to be at. And then Lindsay is at a grade 6, step 1. And when the budget comes out in January, she'll have been here 6 months, so, she's doing a great job. So I'm asking for her to be bumped up a step to step 2.
6'2".
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Most everything I left the same as the prior year's budgets, office supplies, travels, dues. There's a special area that we had dealt with last year that was a big question mark because of the new assessment notices that had to go out with the new bill. So I wasn't really sure how that was gonna pencil out in the figures. So this year well, now that I've been through it a little bit, I can see what's been going on with it, and I was able to source a lot better pricing for next year. So, the budget, basically, I cut it in half for the printing of the letters and the postage and everything. I was able to find a place that prints it all, stuffs it all, mails it all. So that cut that budget basically in half. And then continuing education is all I need for education now. So that dropped that budget down to about a quarter of what it was. Then we get into our assessment software. So that actually went up a little bit. And they are offering this price that you see on here for the software, and then the website is the second figure for the website is the $27.50, and the software itself annually is $11,925. So they're offering this rate. I can lock into a contract at this rate for 3 years or 5 years, or we can just go for 1 year, and and then the rate will change next year to whatever they decide. So I just wanted to mention that we have an option to lock it in for 5 years at this price.
Chances are it's not.
Probably won't go down.
Nope, it just keeps going up every year, yeah.
What's the capital outlay, cause I see you didn't have that in last year's budget.
I think I added that in there based upon what Marlis had put on the 2025 expenditures. I think that's, not quite sure if that's papers and things like that we get charged for. So the whole courthouse gets charged for certain things. Is that right, Marlis, or?
You know, if, I don't know how you would pay out of that if you did that on something.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Okay, so if that's wrong, just scratch that right out. I'm not quite sure. I just kinda went off what got into the 25 expenditures, so.
Okay.
Wasn't sure, like if it's just like paper towels and, I don't know. Okay, so maybe it's nothing, we'll just scratch that one right out then, cause I didn't have it last year, and then I saw the 25 number, like, oh.
I don't know what that 25 would have been.
Okay.
I'd have to look back.
Okay.
I mean, just cause, capital outlay, if I was gonna interpret that, I would say that's more like some kind of like work to your space or something.
Okay.
Which I'm not against, I was just curious, cause it wasn't in last year,
Yeah,
so it's like, well.
I wasn't sure what it was
could
either, I just
be a
assumed
little
it was.
remodeling or something being done or something to your office.
Could it be a desk that you, was there a desk bought last year?
Was that last year, maybe, creating sense, okay.
I think that's.
Okay, so, yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, then I would say we don't need that number on there.
So take the
4,000.
Take the 4
Right
out.
off, yep, yep. Good catch, Marlis, thank you.
I actually caught it.
Yes,
Yeah,
good catch, Eric, thank you.
Hey, I'm just in here slashing budgets, that's what I do. Until I get the Marcy's.
I appreciate it.
We need a budget slash.
Needs a chance to pin that metal on.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what we need.
And then, the rest of
I
them,
run my fingers through my hair.
rest of them kind of stay the same until we get down to technology. We need 2 computers in the department. We need a new one for the assistant. Hers is up on contract. They wanna put in a new one. And then we need a new laptop, cause the laptop, is going to cease to work with Camel Vision software at the end of the year. with the new update. So kind of, the numbers for the computers are kind of ballparkish from NRG. They weren't real certain on exact numbers, so it's just a ballpark on those numbers. So then when you add it all up, the budget is actually a little less than last year with the cost savings with the postage and everything.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, man.
Just being sarcastic, I mean, I'm not against people getting desks and stuff, so. I have nice desks in my office, I have.
Oh, good job.
Thank you.
It's just proof that I read them, okay, that's the big thing, at least I read them, okay?
Whoa, simmer down over there.
So
I like seeing things loud in the
questions
microphone so
on
the newspaper don't call me.
Vanguard contract or anything?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. To lock it in for 5 years, are you?
You don't have to decide today.
Oh,
They just wanna to lock it in here within the next couple months, so.
I mean, the only question I would have is,
The 5 year,
if you're
the three,
satisfied.
they'll lock it in for 3 years at that, or 5 years at that, yeah, or we just go year to year.
I mean, are we
Is there
satisfied
a
with
benefit savings
Vanguard?
or not?
Well, I tell you what, we don't wanna migrate to a whole new system again.
Well, I mean, it's just like anything, I mean, you know, you gotta discuss things, and I mean, are we satisfied with it, is the service that we,
It
you know,
is
is it?
getting better, it is improving with every update, they add new areas of the software that help you achieve a better value. Like, for instance, they didn't used to have, tall metal garage structures. They used to just have metal structures, so you have to calculate it out, and now they've got that right in there, and it just works out just like a regular house now. Just put in the square footage and the finishing, and it comes up with a nice number for you.
Okay.
So they do improve it.
What is your opinion on Vanguard?
I'm good with Vanguard.
So what are you thinking? Would you feel comfortable doing 3 years, 5 years?
I would definitely feel comfortable with 3, definitely.
That's probably a good
I
landing
think
spot.
so.
3-year deal.
I agree.
And we do have some extra hours that come with all that, of working with us, more training if I want. I take Bernie's brain all the time. So on how to make the software work better for us. And she's great to work with, although she might be retiring.
Still not a reason to go to another software then.
No, because there's a lot of other people there that I work with that are really good.
Okay.
They've been really good.
I mean, you're the subject matter expert, if you're comfortable going, say, 3 years or whatever, I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah,
probably.
I'd say 3 would be good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Christine. Out of due respect to Mr. Hanson, we'll let you step in.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain your delinquency?
I've been in court all morning, so I apologize. I did just get some handouts here on our proposed budget amendments. We are seeking to increase our office supplies from $700 to $1,500. The basis of that is some additional cost due to computer storage, primarily from the large amount of videos that we have to store and send out to different attorneys, obviously. Second line item was the organizational dues. That was at $1,200. We're seeking to increase that to $2,000. The main reason for that is the North Dakota State Attorneys Association dues are increasing in 2027 to $1,000 or $400 the last few years, so it's a pretty large increase. Some of these line items have been decreased in the past, otherwise we probably wouldn't need to touch them. Trying to tighten up our budgets in years previous, so that's the reason for that. The remaining budget increases, salaries, I was seeing, I'm at a step 5, I'm asking to increase 1 step. If I ask for no increase, I'll get no increase. If I'm asking for 1
said. Amy specifically was at a step 6 within her grade. There's some reasons that I didn't agree with that, last year, but unfortunately, because of the timing, I just didn't, really have a chance in that budget cycle to ask for an increase, because the way it was implemented, it was approved sort of at the preliminary budget cycle. That was kind of one of the first times I actually got to see the numbers. But if you look at the actual grade and step basis or analysis or whatever the notes are that are with this, it says that steps 1 through 4 in any grade are starting salary of an employee depending on experience. So you would expect somebody who's just started at like a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Step 9 would be expected at the midpoint of someone's career. Amy's got 30 years of experience. I don't think we're planning on a 60-year run here, but even if we did, she would be 3 steps below where we would like to see her. Step 18 is the expected step at the end of an employee's career, so you can kind of imagine a step every couple of years as an increase as long as it's merited. Given that, I would expect someone who starts as young as she has, that maybe a 40-year career would be sort of reasonable. 30 years to 75% of that would fall mathematically between steps 13 and 14, so that's why I was requesting step 13. That's a little more significant increase than before, but I also have to plan for the future and try and bring someone in. I think the reason that we moved this step in grade, at least how I recall, is because we were having these issues where someone would work here for 30, 40 years, they would retire, and then we immediately hire someone else at or above their salary, and trying to avoid that. So I would ask that you consider that. If it costs me my step increase, that's fine. I think that's reasonable under the circumstances. We went with a 5% COLA. I don't know what everybody else did. But I don't know if the commission is considering a COLA this year or not. But again, if I don't ask for one, I won't receive one. So, any questions about the budget?
Can I mention something, Joe? When the committee had met and we looked at Amy's, she's prorated because she's 80%. And so we were gonna put her like at a 6, 13, or 14 or something like that. And then when we were gonna prorate it 80%, it came out to less than what she was originally making. And when the committee had said when we started this, we were not gonna have anybody who was cut and paid. So that's why we went down and prorated steps instead. That's why she was down. And Gary's in here now, he can probably, he just like, I was just mentioning what we did with Amy with her prorating. That's why we prorated her steps instead of her
I appreciate the explanation. I disagree with them. I continue to still disagree with it now. I think if anything with the proration, that's another reason to increase it. I know last year there was a longevity deal, and I felt like that was mishandled too, so I'm gonna stay by my recommendation and request. Thank you.
I don't like that Amy sent a lawyer to negotiate her wages, that bugs me. It just seemed like a good time for a joke, but you guys aren't funny either. Yeah, I think it's a reasonable argument of it.
I just don't wanna see anybody losing any.
No, you don't want anybody
I
to
don't
go
want
down.
That's the reason why I brought it up.
Any discussion, anybody, any comments?
Well, she's a valuable asset, I know that. So,
I'd say for the sake of discussion, I don't think we really talked about COLA in any way, so,
yeah.
I don't think there's any number in mind as of now, so. I guess hearing requests from you guys is as valuable as anything, so at least it gives us some direction to point the ship, so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time anyway. I would just say that the requests for the line item increases, I think are about as moderate as I can make them under the circumstances.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Here.
Your next hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I have a total of 6 different budgets to present, preliminary budgets anyway. What's the biggest difference for me is, again, I will be retiring at the end of this year, December 31st. So, a couple of issues. Currently I wear a couple of different hats, a few different hats as sheriff, 911 coordinator, county coroner, and so forth. I don't know who's gonna fill those vacancies. But I did do the budget, and there's no big surprises on it. Is there one in particular you wanna start with? We can start with 911.
Well, it goes sheriff, then it goes 911 general, then it goes 911 coroner, so why don't we just go in order and start with sheriff?
Okay, start with sheriff. Okay, so really the, minimal changes in the budget from last year's to this year. The biggest thing is probably just the salary. Looking at last year there wasn't a COLA, included in that, there was some step increases for longevity purposes. So, because there wasn't a COLA last year, and we did as a county adopt the grading step. Now, that grading step stays stagnant because there's no COLA. It only changes when there's a COLA. So if there's a COLA increase any year, it's first plugged into that grading step. And that adjusts, it's a living document, so that adjusts across the board based on the COLA. So last year there wasn't one. So right now, the federal government's looking at probably a 4% COLA this year, cost of living increase, plus at least 3% last year, so you're looking at 7%. So what the figures there represent is a 5% COLA across the board. And I think that's kind of what, talking with the other department heads, that's kind of what they were looking at also. So it's not just myself. The sheriff's salary, again, that's something that you guys will have to address later on. Whoever that person may be, whether it's Chris Vargas or John Bartlett, whether you start that position out at where I'm at, or you make some other adjustments, that's something that you guys will have to determine, obviously. But obviously you don't want to start any new sheriff out less than their staff is making. Okay, but that's something that you'll have to consider when that time comes in the fall of the year. So the deputy's position basically represent a 5% increase from a grade 9 to step 2. Well, I did hire one person who started yesterday. No prior experience in law enforcement and so forth. They are not licensed yet. We're in the process of trying to get them a limited license, which will take about a month to get that limited license. Then they will have to attend the training academy tentatively mid-September and then graduate just before Christmas. So we still won't be able to utilize this person on their own until that time. And then I still have 2 vacancies and no new applicants in the last 3 weeks, roughly. So, but those salaries that represent for the deputies' positions are basically starting at a 9-2, grade 9, step 2. And that reflects a 5% COLA on that too for next year. Everything else pretty much stayed the same for this year from last year, with the exception of I believe you get into the second page, an increase for the vehicle. We are not gonna be replacing a vehicle this year. We got one budgeted, but we're not gonna be replacing that this year. But again, it's the cost factor of replacing a car. It's getting crazy. We've all seen that increase in vehicles and so forth. So we penciled in $75,000 for a vehicle replacement. That's not only the car, but also some of the incidentals that come with that, as far as installation and some of the equipment that has to be replaced. We don't replace equipment every time we get a car. We look at about every 10 years. Light bars, radar units, things like that. Everything has an end of life on it electronically. So that includes some of that equipment, not all of it. Some of it, depending on the vehicle, is transferable over to the new one, depending on how old it is and so forth, other factors. But just a state bid on a patrol car now is right around the $60,000. for an SUV. So, other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was last year. You can look at the figures from last year to this year, and, there are really no changes. Other than the telephone, cellular, and wire data, we did increase that 500 because currently my cell phone and my data for my laptop comes out of the 911 budget. I don't know if the new sheriff will be the 911 coordinator, or we will have to budget for that. You know, it's something that has to be discussed later this year, so. Any questions on that portion of it? For the sheriff's office?
Your gasoline that comes out of vehicle maintenance, is that listed under that?
Yeah, basically what we do is we also have a supplementary budget out of the jail, so we take it out of there first.
Okay.
Before we take it out of this one. Yeah. And you'll see that in the next budget that we discuss.
Okay, it wouldn't be better off having the sheriff spill fuel out the shop, out of the tank. Well, cost savings would be if we had a, you know, go under a fuel card, go in, swipe your card, fill fuel at the same tank at the plates. I've often wondered if we would, how much savings we could come up with if we would have the sheriff's fill out at the shop, put on a card troll, and you just go out there, swipe your card, fill your vehicle. If it would be substantial, if it would be worth doing that, I mean, that's what larger counties do, Morton, Burley.
They do, they've got a place, they operate a little bit differently in the fact that they don't have take-home vehicles. The other thing is, sometimes we're in a situation where we gotta fill in Hager, we gotta fill in Strasburg.
And you could still have a card for that, I'm just wondering if I mean, just on a normal everyday basis, you know, cause we have 2 county vehicles as well.
Right.
I'm just wondering if there would be a cost savings to us to do something like that.
You know what, and again, I'm on my way up, but, and that's something that can be discussed with the new sheriff, whoever that may be, but in all reality, I don't know if the cost savings would be greatly beneficial to the county versus, again, we buy our local fuel from, you know, our local businesses. And I don't know where the county is buying their fuel out the county shop from, I don't know. If you bid that out, is that awarded annually, is that, you know, I don't know how.
I don't know how they do it, it's a quarter.
I think it's just every
I
tank.
think we're bidding it by the tank, and usually it's locals, it's
Okay.
generally Martin's, Beestrom's,
Right,
Integra, somebody like that, but,
Yeah.
so it's probably mostly the same vendors that we're buying from at the pump, but, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to give them an avenue, you know, I mean, they could fill there too, but I guess my opinion, I don't mind seeing the sheriff's departments pull up to the pumps in these towns and, you know, do it that way too, I guess, I don't know.
Right, you know, our local business have been very cooperative with my office in the past. If I need a tire changed, fixed on a Saturday, I get it fixed.
Yeah.
You know, so, I don't know, I mean, that's something that you guys can talk about later, I guess, but, and again, I don't know that the cost savings, because we're still gonna continue to buy fuel. If it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm down in the south end of the county, I'm not gonna run all the way up here. I may not have the opportunity.
Yeah, and you wouldn't
Especially if we're on
be
season.
expected to, I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, there might
Well,
be
we do have
substantial
tanks in
cost
Strasburg and
savings.
Hazleton too, though, but then you'd kinda have to outfit them with a system too then, or something, or, you know what I mean, cause otherwise every one of them's got their own tricks on how to turn the pump on and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a bad long-term vision to at least give them access to it if they would need it or something, but,
Yeah. I mean, with the car trolls we got one in Hague, Strasburg, Linton here, obviously, and Hazelton. So, I mean, we, north to south, everywhere we were able to, and then also up the river now with the dock out there, having fuel. I've talked to Jack, if we're out there and we're able to buy, you know, if we have to buy.
Is that
out there. I don't believe it's car troll at this point, it'd be during business hours kind of deal, yeah, but if we're out there, we need something, we were able
another
to access
opportunity,
that
it's
too,
good.
so.
Yeah, I don't think you'll put card in the way it sounds, too costly.
What's that?
I don't think you'll put a card troll in out there, it's too costly.
I don't think at this point, no, he probably doesn't sell enough fuel out there for that purpose to justify that, but. Yeah. Okay, so if nothing else on that, then we can move on to the county jail. That pretty much remained the same, so this is where we also supplement the sheriff's office through this budget here for fuel, vehicle expenses and so forth, because it is a mill levy in place. We try to burn on this fuel or this, budget first for some of those things that kind of cross over. Because anything that's left over in the sheriff's office budget then transfers over to the following budget year, back into the county, and that's one of the reasons we do that. So the biggest factor of this budget is prisoner housing, inmate costs. That's an unknown thing, we just don't know how that's gonna be. We are burning through that this year. We have, right now, 30,000 over that. At the end of this month, it's probably be close to 40,000, of that burned up this year already. We've got a couple of, individuals that were sentenced to 6 months in the county jail. That's on us at $115 a day. We have contracts with the Burley County Morton Detention Center at $115. We've got contracts with Stutsman County, Mercer County, McLean County, but we primarily use Burley County 98, 99% of the time. But again, we have to pay that per bed per night, $115 a day. It's far cheaper than running our own facility, believe me, and the liabilities. I don't know any sheriff, big or small, that enjoys having a jail. It is a huge, huge headache for any county. But that's just an unknown factor. We don't know. Usually, we don't ever have to have that budget amended. We stay within those limits. This year, we'll see how this year progresses, but there's a possibility we may cut that pretty close. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, that budget stays pretty much the same, stagnant as last year. It does. It stays exactly as it was last year.
Good. Yep.
Okay. What's the next one that you have?
Lease contract.
Okay, that is from the old living contract that we have. We no longer have a living contract, but there is money in that fund. And this budget basically is how much money does the sheriff tentatively plan on possibly spending out of that fund? We use that fund for all various, we might use it for equipment, we might use it for vehicle expenditures, things like that. Okay, so that's what that budget represents. Right now, there's about 75,000, 80,000 in that budget approximately. That's not being added to now, but it's there. And that's what that budget was meant for, was to offset any vehicles. So if we're looking at a vehicle expenditure, vehicle replacement, we have that money then, or if we have to upgrade our drone, and so forth, we can use that funding for that purpose there. Okay? And that's the same as last year too.
Yep.
Nothing's changed there. What's the next one that you have?
Coroner.
Coroner, okay. That's one of the hats that I wear as county coroner. Again, that's an unknown factor, based on how many unattended deaths we may have in the county that require the coroner to sign off and investigate on that part of it. So far, we've had, as of end of May, 3 that I utilized on that. I think since then, probably 2 more additional cases that have to be investigated and so forth. So right now, I don't believe that should be plenty this year. I don't foresee that being an issue and going into next year, unless that changes. That's something, again, that the county will have to look at as far as, is the new sheriff gonna accept those duties, or, now that Paul Sanders is back at the funeral home here locally, if it's something that he may or may not wanna do, I don't know. That's a conversation I haven't had with him. He was a coroner previously before.
Was he?
I was, yeah, then he moved to Washburn, and then that became vacant and so forth, but, yeah. Exactly, so he's familiar with the position.
You're considered coming back as a deputy?
No.
Gotta ask.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So, any more questions on that?
No.
We don't have any expenses out of there, although I think this year I'm gonna have to buy some body bags, out of their minimal cost for that, just so that each car's got one in there.
There was a grab was here not too long ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, they're all not good, but, yeah. So, and then your next one, let's go, I guess, was the 911. So we have 2 budgets for 911, and I'll explain a little bit on why there's 2 budgets. We have the 911 budget, and then there's the 911 general. Okay, so the 911 budget is the primary 911 budget. That is, basically, the money from that is from that $2 a month fee per line. That $2 line now, or $2 fee that we collect from every phone line in the county is not enough to keep that budget in the black because we have expenses. There's where the 911 general, which comes out of the general fund, uses to supplement the 911 budget. So there's two separate budgets, 911 and 911 general. So again, that's another hat that I wear as a 911 coordinator. So I'll give you a little history of what the position there does. So one of the positions that I do there is that, and part of it is some of the addressing, most of the addressing, I should say. But it's also, the 911 coordinator is also the point guy locally for all the first responders in the county. Braddock Fire Department, Hazelton, Strasburg, Hague, Lytton, ambulance, between the local first responders and North Dakota State Radio. If there's an issue with a 911 call or something like that, state radio, the state wants them to go through me, so they have one person that's reaching out to them for specific issues or specific problems, okay? The other thing is to meet with these first responders periodically concerning the new siren radio system that's coming up. It's gonna be implemented here locally, possibly in the next summer, about this time next year. And during that transition period, and I don't we're working with the various first responders on that part of it too. Getting that going, there'll be some training, informational stuff. Everybody has purchased their radios countywide. Now we're just kind of in limbo waiting for that system to transfer over. It's a slow transition statewide. It's not gonna happen statewide in one day. It's already happening in some jurisdictions. They've got implemented, Burley County's using it, Morton County's using it. Fargo is transitioning to that. Williston has transitioned to it. I think McKenzie County has already possibly. But the state radio counties, so there's 53 counties in the state. 26 of the 53 counties utilize state radio for their PSAP, public service answering point, okay, their dispatch center. Those 26 counties won't migrate to the new system using state radio until probably next spring, next summer. That's when, and then by about this time next year, the entire state should be just about transitioned over to the new radio program. Yeah, exactly. We've got the new radios, like in our cars, we've had them installed 2 years ago. They're dual band. We don't have the new frequencies in there. Yeah, we're still using the old frequencies, but we've got the new equipment in place already, so. Yeah,
They won't be obsolete, but
well, that's the problem, this whole siren radio, the thing, I was on the SIAC, state SIAC board for the Sheriff's and Deputies Association 10, 12 years ago when we started this project. And, you know, COVID set it back 3-4 years, supplies, a number of different things. Towers being built, additional towers being built. You know, the original system only has, I'm gonna kind of guess here, but in the neighborhood of about 55 towers statewide for the radio system, right? The new system got over 200 radio systems. We're gaining another tower system in the Braddock area. But part of this whole system is Motorola had to guarantee 95% coverage statewide on a mobile unit and 90% coverage statewide on a portable unit. So that included additional towers, and they're using existing cell towers to piggyback off of for this radio system. So we went from about 50-some, 60 towers to 200-some towers, which greatly increased the coverage and the capability of a portable radio, so to speak, is the biggest issue. Because right now we use VRS systems, vehicle repeater systems in our cars. So what it takes is we've got portable radios that when we transmit, it goes to our cars and it kicks it back out at 100 watts so that we can be anywhere. We've got basically the convenience of our car radio at 100 watts through a portable. I have to be within a mile of my patrol car for that to work. For the new system, any standard 5-watt radio should be able to pretty much have coverage. So we'll see when the system's up and running, but that's what they're telling us right now. So that's one of the things. And also Josh, is my assistant on this whole program. He does a lot of the GIS stuff on the backside on the digital map when it comes to the subdivisions and some of the roadway issues on the mapping system. So the mapping system is owned by the state of North Dakota. We have access to it. We can make edits locally. But when we make an edit, it goes to the state. The state has to review the information before it's approved and so forth. But he does a lot of the GIS stuff on the mapping side for the subdivisions, adding roads, deleting roads, and everything else. So, because any mapping issues is carried over into our CAD system that we use in our patrols vehicles. CAD is for computer-aided dispatching. It's our mapping system that the ambulance has, that my cars have, and the sheriff's office. So if there's an issue with a road that there should be a road here, but there's not in the map, we make sure that gets changed. He changes that. It goes transferred over to the CAD system eventually within 30 days and so forth. So, but it's pretty accurate right now. So he assists in that part of it as far as that goes.
So signs are beneficial, boy, big time.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Once you understand how the system works, and usually when I give an address out to somebody, I kind of educate them on how the house number comes about. So we follow the modified Burkle addressing system, which is a national standard accepted for rural addressing areas, okay? Unlike a city has city blocks, we use sections of land.
Yeah.
Okay, and every section line, whether there's a road there or not, has a designated number assigned to it. First Street, Second Street, Fourth Avenue, where there's road or it has. And basically it's a grid. And the state of North Dakota then is divided into 4 quadrants equally. The middle of North Dakota from north to south, that divides east and west, is Main Avenue. That is up by Darrell Sain's farm. You see the sign there, Highway 13, right? This road that we looked at this morning,
Yeah,
that's Main Avenue. That's dead center of North Dakota. That runs from the Canadian line to South Dakota, okay? And then the state is divided north and south, just south of Highway 200. Okay, east and
That's
west.
the dividing line. Okay.
Roughly, it's a little bit south there, it runs from Minnesota to Montana. So you have 4 quadrants in the state. So when you have a post-directional address assigned to your address, like southeast or southwest here in Emmons County, it doesn't mean that you're southeast of Linton or southeast of Strasburg. You're in the southeast quadrant of North Dakota. When you get west of Main Avenue, past Sain's place, you are now in the southwest quadrant of North Dakota. So, and the other thing is with postal communities, right? So you get in southern Emmons County, in that Westfield area, you might have a Harriet, South Dakota address or a Pollock, South Dakota address, right? And the Postal Service doesn't recognize state boundaries like we do. They got delivery areas, and that just designates where your mail comes. You have a physical address based in North Dakota here, but you have a Harriet, South Dakota address. Why is that? Because that's where your mail comes from. That's your postal community. Has nothing to do with where you actually live. That's where your mail is sorted from and delivered from. It is Harriet or Pollock. But your house number and your street address is in North Dakota. So a lot of people, it creates confusion with FedEx, UPS, people like that. They don't, and when you explain it that way, then you go, oh yeah, I understand it, but it still creates a lot of problems for those people. For delivery purposes anyway. So I think later today you'll address the memorandum of understanding with state radio. That is an annual, biannual type of agreement because the state operates on a biannual budget. And currently what that has to do with is basically summarize it is it's state radio continue to do dispatching for Emmons County and the 25 other counties that do it for. And there's a cost factor. State legislators said in order for state radio to continue doing this was probably 2 or 3 sessions ago. They have to calculate what the actual cost is to supply those services to the 26 counties that they do this for, right? The legislature says, okay, we just can't be doing it for 25 cents per call. It has to be based on what's the call volume. That could be radio traffic, telephone calls coming in, going out, all we're doing with issues here. And the new rate that took effect July 1st here just a week ago is $1.59 per line. Okay, that's what it is. But keep in mind, we collect $2 a line. 50 cents of that $2 goes to the siren project, that's mandated by state law, so that we actually utilize $1.50. State radio services are $1.59 a line. So it doesn't take long to do the math, okay, we're losing 9 cents a line right there, now all the other incidental costs that come with that, it's actually costing Emmons County about 80 cents per line negative, 80 cents a line to maintain those services. That's where the 911 general budget comes into play, to supplement that, okay?
Yeah.
So basically the budget pretty much stayed the same, even though there's an increase in that, state radio fee of $1.59, per line, we still pretty much kept it the same, because we'll be within those guidelines and what we have budgeted for, obviously. And that's the two budgets there. One is the 911 general is where we pay a lot of the salaries out of, and there's 38,000 in that budget to supplement the 911 fee. When that money runs out, we can draw from the general fund, the 911 general fund. Did I explain that?
Yep.
Okay, Mark, very well. Okay.
Perfect.
Huh? Very well.
Yeah.
Big bucks.
Okay, I guess that's all the budgets. Any questions from you guys, I guess?
Anybody?
No. Okay. Okay. Again, if something comes up later, don't hesitate to get a hold of me, I guess, for clarification purposes or something. We did budget for a car coming next year, whether or not we'll actually utilize it, we don't know, but it's something we wanted to budget for.
Yep.
Even if we lost a car, we do have a spare car that we use for those purposes, if we hit a deer or something goes down, mechanical, we usually have a spare that I operate on, because it takes 9 months to a year to get a car. It's crazy. Even though it's gotten better to get the car, it's the outfitting of a car, the equipment for a car, getting it scheduled to get it, get the stuff put in, is just, it takes 9 months.
Yep.
So,
It's not like it used to be.
no. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
So Gary, with the 911, how many hours would you suggest that they find somebody in the courthouse to take that, or advertise the position? No, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something I'll talk to Josh with here too a little bit, obviously, and we can have that conversation.
How about the coroner?
Again, that's gonna be, either, my suggestion, that would either be the incoming sheriff or Paul. It depends on whether they wanna take on those duties. I don't know.
Wait to see.
That's a job too, that again, the hours on it could be, who knows? It might be 2 a.m, might be on a weekend, you don't know when that stuff is gonna happen, obviously, so. Yeah, okay.
You don't wanna keep those?
Okay.
You don't wanna keep those?
What's
You
that?
don't wanna continue the coroner?
I think this is a conversation we can have. I mean, right now, I'm not interested in it, but I mean, we can definitely have that conversation here in a month or two and to get closer to that date. And we finalize everything, so. If I did suggest it, or did consider it, I think like a contracted position, maybe, or, yeah, without the benefits and so forth, but, Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Gary.
Gary.
That's for the year we're hiring. But that's the first day of the year we're hiring.
It's done. Understand that it is. Rusty?
Russ is coming back at 1, you wanna just wait?
Do what?
Russ is coming back at 1, you wanna just
Yeah,
wait?
why don't we just do like highway tax or the commission or some of these other ones?
That's okay.
Okay, we can skip, go after capital projects, after road, and then you can do the commission.
But you don't wanna go through highway
You
tax?
wanna go through the highway tax?
Well, I thought you should do that with Russ.
With Russ, right?
Well, are we gonna do anything different?
Well, he probably wants to explain what he wants for his employees, though,
See, it's a little bit. County road and bridge, that should be Russ, right?
Yes.
Capital projects,
That should be
Russ,
Russ.
road districts, Russ. Commission.
So you guys would be next,
Commission,
tell me what you wanna do as far as the salaries and stuff. I'm figuring an 18% increase on health insurance this year because the rates are gonna be going up July 1st again.
18%.
So that'd be 9% a year, because it's every 2 years. So I had to figure, 7 months of the new rate and 5 months of the old rates. I figured 18% because I don't want to show.
Yeah, you can't control it.
When the premiums get so high, you wanna make sure that you don't budget short on that. Because it's a lot to be short on. So I guess with this one here, you know, just let me know what you guys wanna do for the salaries, the rest of it I'll just keep the same. On the commission.
Well, I'm fine with it.
Salary's been the same since I've been commissioner, so it's at least 8 years, so.
Has it been the same?
Yeah, I've never changed that, I don't believe.
And I don't wanna say anything on the way out.
That's the time to say it.
Yeah, right.
The historical vote is the guys on the way out trying to help the guys that are still there, but I don't feel like it's an unfair wage, especially if you're utilizing the health insurance too. I feel like it's fair. Just for the state of fact, I've never been a part of an increase. The main reason too is because you have to increase it with your term, right?
Right, you can't.
You can't, like right now, it's gotta be like in a sequence, so you would get raises for some of the guys, but the other guys would have to wait like the two. Cause we talked about that one other time, is I think we were gonna decrease it one year, and then we found out
You can't decrease, but you can increase.
well, that's where the conversation started, where
You can increase
Yeah.
within your term, you can't decrease.
right.
Cut budget,
And so that's where like there's sequencing along with your terms, and so you can't just be like, everybody gets a raise next year, you'd have to like. So that's probably another reason why it doesn't get touched, cause it's like, well, that sounds complicated, you know, not everybody's getting paid the same for like a 2-year stretch, and so.
The new guys get paid more than the old guys would.
Well, I think that's how it would go, cause I think it'd have to be in like that term year is when it would, so like technically, as you take the position, that's when your increase would come, I think that's how it went, right, or? I don't remember, I remember it was weird. Like,
You can increase, like, you can increase Craig, James within their terms, but you can't decrease it.
Right.
Right.
But it's something to do with the terms, and so there was just like a weird, like, it was just. I don't believe like that it's really inadequate.
I'm fine with it.
Keep it the same?
Yeah, for me, I can't speak for everybody.
It doesn't equate to much if you're actually doing your job, but it is what it is. The health insurance is the big benefit.
That's the benefit for you
Yeah.
guys sitting on.
Yeah, if you're doing it for $1,000 a month, you're losing money. I know when
If you chase the countryside.
I miss several days of work a month doing this, I'm losing. That $1,000 doesn't cover what I'm losing, that's for sure, but.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I'm not, I don't have a business right now, but like you said, you're losing money.
Oh, yeah,
If you're chasing and devoting.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you go to a lot of meetings,
You
a lot
go to
of
6
meetings.
county meetings and all those seminars.
That you're not getting paid for, yeah, it does, I know a lot of people think, well, that's a lot of money, $1,000, but it comes down to pennies when you actually break it down to the time you put into this job, it's.
You drive by and it adds up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, none of us put in anything for travel or doing, running there, here or there, so.
Yeah.
Let's say leave the commissioner budget the same?
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
I think so.
And then the next one, Mary Sanger is still our emergency manager. I don't know if Burley hasn't hired anybody yet to take over her job, but she's still our emergency manager, so she did the DEM budget, and she's keeping everything the same as she has.
I had someone reach out to me about that was interested in the position and wondering if we were gonna put it out there.
Oh,
And I just said I would bring it before the board, and I don't know if we wanna. I mean, technically that would be an employee of the commissioners, not, or, I mean, you would basically put it out for like interviews, for like if you wanted to hire an emergency manager. Like even on just a part-time basis, let's say, cause that's, historically, that's what we did, right? It was a part-time position.
well, it was, before Mary Sanger, we had somebody that was the 911 coordinator, risk manager, I think they were superintendent schools, and also, 911 risk manager, superintendent, and the DEM. And then after she quit,
Yeah.
we had, you know, we were in the middle of a flood, so
I mean-
that's when we contracted where they got Mary on board.
It's an interesting
Asked me to
conversation.
take the risk manager over, and they asked
Sure.
Gary to do the 911, and that's how we did it.
I mean,
That's
since
not very
Gary,
comfortable.
since Gary did bring up that the 911 position could possibly be, and then if we had at least someone ask about being interested, if it wouldn't be a bad idea to advertise those positions as like a combined part-time position.
Or even more, what is McIntosh, Logan, what other counties?
What do they-
McIntosh, they have a part-time emergency manager. Logan County contracts with somebody from Bismarck. It's not really though, it's somebody else, she did do.
Just wondering if we could get a full-time.
And I don't
position
know
split
who their
it.
911 coordinators are. I can McIntosh or Logan or
I
not.
mean, cause another caveat is that we don't know if this new person will take Emmons County. I mean, Mary kinda had a link to Emmons County. Is this next person gonna wanna
Right.
do that joint powers agreement? It's just something for discussion, cause I know when, you know, this person called me, I'm just like, you know, I never really put much thought into it. The assumption was we'd hopefully continue it with Burley County, but that's not a guarantee either.
Right.
No,
So on top of that, the possibility of a 911 coordinator, and that kinda goes with emergency management, and maybe you try and put that into a 25-hour-a-week position or something, I don't, 20 hours, whatever.
Planning and zoning, we're gonna kind of do what Marcy's been doing, she's been doing a lot of extra duties too.
Oh, Marlis has to be a part of that though, right? Wasn't that part of the century code?
yes,
The
you
auditor?
have to be part of
You
it.
know what, it is part of the century code.
You could probably
I've been in
delegate those
contact with some other counties talking
Yeah.
about, you know, who they're getting to do their plan, this and that. They have a lot of their own coordinators too, though. They don't have the other.
Well, I mean, you're a part of it, but you could delegate those responsibilities to, like, let's
Yeah,
just
you
say,
guys
like
could- you guys
Leanne or
could
something,
say
like,
you
you
don't
would.
want me to do it, and you could have somebody.
Well, right, but I'm just saying too, there's just, but, it's
We
just
don't
something.
want her, we
it's
want
some-
somebody else.
I wouldn't be bringing it forward if I didn't have a phone call from somebody that said they were interested in it, hearing that Mary took a position and was wondering what's happening with our situation, and I said, well, I really don't know as of now.
I think there's definitely some.
It's worth looking into.
Yeah, some investigating and possibly, like you said, maybe combining some of this stuff back onto one. Just-
Well, like you said, you have a combination of scenarios where the Burley County person's not interested, the next sheriff maybe doesn't wanna be the coordinator, you know, now you're like, okay, now we got two.
Now we gotta
three.
do something.
You know, so it's something to consider, I don't know if we wanna advertise it, see if there's any
And you know,
interest.
even like with the superintendent of schools, you know, I mean, there was a time where I thought about taking it on, but then when all this stuff started happening, with the, dissolutions of schools, I thought, you know, I don't have the time for it, and that's why Brad did a good job with that. And now that Zealand's gonna be the next school dissolving, there probably won't be that much, maybe an annexation here and there, so that person could be our superintendent of schools too.
Yeah,
I didn't want any more.
maybe we should put something out there and see if we get any, like,
Well, and I feel like this budget number probably is fairly close to a part-time salary. Like, so we're probably budgeting appropriately anyway, where for that.
Ready for a 911.
At $40 an hour, yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll just depend, I think it's like anything with the emergency manager stuff, I mean, if we have a flood. Like
Right.
$31,000 salary's not gonna cover
but
budget.
like Rick said, though, you throw some of the 911 stuff in there.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, is I think if you combine enough of those things, there's enough here for a part-time salary to at least, you know, like, budget-wise, we're probably at least budgeting appropriately if we want to go that route. That was the, kind of the point here was like, cause if we're only budgeting for a joint powers with Burley County, you know, that's a little
The
different.
problem that we always have though is office space, you know, and we do with Mary's desk is in the back by Lisa. That would work. We don't have an empty office right now. Okay, then the next one, you wanna go into my stuff. Auditor, you know, I talked to Tanya, getting some evaluation and stuff going with my office, so she's been helping me out with that, that's really, really good. I do ask that, you know, if my girls right now, if you look at the sheet, are at a 6, grade 6, and I do ask if you're gonna bump other people up to a 7, that you really think of my staff, because I don't want no hard feelings there, and they all do such a wonderful job. Tyler, technology has been really, really challenging for the auditor's office and the treasurer's office. We went through 6 months of just a lot of training, a whole year of training, and 6 months of just challenges, and we're getting better at that, and things are getting better with Tyler too. I mean, other counties were having the same issues as we were. With the auditor's office, my 2 deputies in there running the elections, we got a whole new system coming. Secretary of State's office is getting rid of voices, and they're gonna go to a whole new software program that we're gonna be training with, starting after the general election. They wanna start that come the first of the year. It's gonna be a lot to learn there. The other 2 staff members in the treasurer's office, Lisa is the deputy treasurer, and then Marlena helping out 2 treasurers working motor vehicle, both of them do motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is really increasing in business, and people are coming from all over the state. I mean, they had 3 people that showed up from Williston not too long ago. They were going to Ashley to get some sausage, and they were gonna go to Wishick and get some sausage. They were gonna go to Napoleon to get some sausage and head back home. But on their way down here, they stopped through here and did motor vehicle business.
It's a heck of a lot easier to do it here than up.
I haven't been to Bismarck in years. I wouldn't even know where to walk in the door anymore.
They're
I'm
coming
telling you.
from Tappan, they're coming from Jamestown, they're coming
Yeah.
I had to go get my real IDs, I had last year, but.
You know, that stuff, but I'm just
Other
saying,
than
well,
that,
they give you real ID down here, that once a month deal or whatever.
Yeah, I know,
But I'm just saying, like, that DMV office.
And we did put a sign in, they asked if it was okay for 1 customer only in the office, because it gets kind of disturbing when you're waiting on somebody and somebody's standing there. They want you to hurry up and get done with that customer, and then, and then they're watching you.
Well, there is some personal information involved with some of
Yeah.
that stuff too. There should be a
We've
little
got
bit
that
of
bench-
privacy.
We have that bench out in the hallway, and that seems to help a little
I
bit.
see that.
I can say one thing, there's a lot of things in this county you could change that people maybe wouldn't be happy about, but it'd go about. I don't know if getting rid of DMV would go over very much. You might get a riot on that. People love it.
And then also with the DOT, there's report cards. The DOT does report cards on them. So they have to really watch it,
Well, I don't see how they're not doing an outstanding job, because I don't think I've gone in there one time where I didn't leave like thinking that was just an awesome service. I really.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Customers usually leave there pretty happy, but, I just ask that, if you're gonna do any grades, whatever, that you do think of my staff. I don't want they do such a wonderful job, and I don't want no hurt feelings, so. So I left the salary part of it blank. The office supplies, I just had to go up $1,000, as you can see in 25. We spent $4,900. A lot of that is paper. Paper has gone up on price big time, and we go through a lot of paper. The travel, I left that the same, I left the dues the same. Publishing, I had to go up because I spent over $6,000 in 2025. Publishing the minutes is huge. Publishing, equalization, meeting notices, public hearings and all that comes all out of my budget. Postage, I kept that the same. I kept continuing at the same. I did go up in miscellaneous just a little bit, because I went over last year. Capital outlay, I kept the same. The telephone, the bank is doing like our security right now, and that all comes out of my phone bill. So that's why my phone bill is so ungodly high, is because of, Beck is charging so much a month for having the security, and it goes out to my phone. And technology, I dropped that down last time. This in 26, I had 10,000 because we needed some new computers, and I did keep 7,000 in there. I know my printer's starting to act up. I'm getting black ink all over papers I print now, so that's a sign of it going out. So I tried to keep things down, but there's a lot of things I can't help, like the publishing, postage and paper, everything goes up on us. And then the treasurer's budget, I kept the salaries, again, whatever you guys decide to do for everybody else. Let me see what I did here. Office supplies, I went up because we've already spent $2,200. A lot of that is paper. Lot of paper that we gotta send, tax statements out and everything has gone up so much. The travel, I went down, dues are the same. I kept the postage, same as last year. I took off the continuing ad, I didn't put anything on there. Miscellaneous kept the same, capital outlay the same, telephone I kept the same, and then I went down on the technology because I don't think this year I had to replace a couple computers, so next year I just kept something in technology in case printers or something go out. Other than that, I looked at that $1,000.
Do the two ladies in there have to do any continuing education or?
They do that right, you know, with the DOT, you mean? Yeah, they do that right online. Motor vehicle, our supplies and postage we have to pay for, and then technology, I just kept 2,000 in case a printer or computer would have to break down. Computers are pretty new, but you never know with a printer. And then the next one is Brad Dix from, Superintendent of Schools. He said he went off a couple $100 because he might have an extra meeting or two to do with the Zealand, dissolving. And then the next one is, I'm the risk manager for the county. I usually get all that back, that money, we just got a check back from NDACO for all the LMS classes that I have everybody take, and doing the workers' comp claims, getting everything in on time, and doing all the credits that I do. This usually gets paid for. I get a check back from NDACO for that. Capital projects, courthouse, that's what, Craig was talking about, where he put in 30,000 to replace shingles if we need to in the courthouse. And then the next one is courthouse building and grounds. We always budget 50,000 in there for upkeep, supplies, and some miscellaneous. And the next one is utilities. It's self-explanatory. Our utilities, our water, and our garbage. And then the next one's elections. I did budget 10,000 in there because you never know when a special election is gonna come up. And then something might happen and then we need to have a special election, so I have something.
Whatever's left just goes back into the general, correct?
Yes. NDACO, those are the dues for the North Dakota Association of Counties. I did get my budget analysis from Linda Spihovic, and they are going up from $7,400 to $7,684. And then the next one is miscellaneous. I was short on our examination fees for when they did our 2024 audit. They're working on finalizing it, and I should get our packets in the mail any day here, but so for they're gonna be doing the 2025 this fall and into next year, so I went up to 40,000 because they keep increasing the costs on me. And then I just do a 20,000 in miscellaneous for unexpected things that come up, that, somebody will come to me and they'll say, you know what, my laptop went out and I didn't budget for it. You got some money for me or whatever, and I usually try to go into miscellaneous or into technology or something to come up with that, so I always budget 20,000 in there. Planning Commission, I went from 5,000 to 12,000.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be enough?
No, not if we do that.
If we hire some other company to do that.
15.
That'll be this year though.
Oh,
Yeah, that
I
should
mean,
be a
took it out of the
one-time
commit
deal.
fund.
yeah,
I thought I'd take
yeah,
that.
12 is plenty then, I guess, yeah, if that's in this, okay.
Once we're done with that,
If they get
So,
time,
we
they
should-
get done in time for us to, I guess, but either way.
We'll pay it out the commit fund if we have to.
Okay. No, that should be fine.
okay.
And then the copy expense, we leased the printers from the extension office and in the clerk of court's office, so that's what those two are, the 6,000 and the 1,000. And then Neo Post rent, that's our postage machine that we pay rent on. And then wellness, we have to pay out, if some employees participate in the wellness program, we have to pay that out. And then the FICA and Medicare for that wellness that we pay out. So that's for miscellaneous, and the next one is unemployment, should we need it, I always budget 3,000, this is for the courthouse, we haven't used it for so long, I can't remember the last time we ever used that. And then the next one is the community restitution program, that's through Century Inc., where somebody gets in trouble with allowing to do community service, we have to pay them so much for that. And then the next one, advertising, that's a Lewis and Clark dues that we pay every year. They went up a little bit compared to last year, they were 53, they went up to 55. And then 3,500 for abandoned cemeteries.
Did you
up on that?
budget in Badger restoration?
Pardon me?
Did you budget in for the Badger reclamation also?
For Badger.
Oh, they were digging up some of the
Oh,
cemeteries.
that would come out of abandoned cemetery if they would want us to do something. I know, well, it's not, but you're just being smart, right, Dan?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
You're the chairman.
Badger Reclamation Cemetery.
You don't know about that?
I know about it.
Okay, well, I just had to ask.
Hey, with the abandoned
Smart, but
cemeteries
not very
conversation,
smart.
what are our limitations on the abandoned cemeteries?
You can do what you want.
Well, like I said,
I think we
I
should-
think with the conversation we just had,
Yeah,
I'm not saying we go from 3,500 to 35,000, but I think it'd be realistic to go to maybe $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to start.
Whatever you guys want.
I mean,
so we can put it there, but we can take it when it's left, put it in general.
It
Right. I
does,
think we should put enough
this is,
there if
that
we
is
need it
part of
there.
the general, so what we don't use stays in there.
Right.
well, I'm just, it's something for consideration because
Yeah.
Dave brought up a pretty interesting point today. And I mean, if you start building some fences or doing some
That
things,
costs money.
$3,500 isn't gonna probably last very long.
Do you want me to increase it?
Well, I think it's something to consider. I think going up to $5,000 is not unreasonable.
I'd say 7,000.
I was gonna say, let's just double it.
Well,
I would too.
I mean, I think, and if you,
Want
I
me to
mean,
go 7,000?
Yeah.
like you said, you don't have to
Yeah.
utilize it,
Yeah.
but if you're serious about fixing some of these things, which I think is, I mean,
Good idea.
I think it's worthy cause. I
It's
think
just probably gonna
3,500
take
is
some
probably
time, I
low.
don't think we have to go too crazy,
Right,
because I think it'll take some time, we won't all
To
get
get it
spent
out
probably,
going, yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean,
It's
I
gonna
think,
take time to find.
I think $5,000 to $7,000
Yeah.
is.
So I think 7,500.
Well, you gotta remember, this is for other, it's not just for finding these new ones too, it's the ones that already exist. They
Yeah,
still need
that's
to be
true.
mowed, they
Right,
still need to have
right.
fence upkeep, like,
Right.
you're not gonna, like, we, like at Trust Bowl that one year, I think we gave it all to them, it was like,
Yeah.
Got it all.
$3,000, but we didn't have nothing going on that year, but the next year, you might have 4 requests,
We
or,
bought a whole
yeah.
bunch of fencing
Yeah,
and.
they
Right.
put up a chain link fence, didn't they?
Which is
That
good.
gets expensive.
Well,
It's
I mean,
good.
that's
It's
what it's
worthy,
for,
and
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I'm fine with doubling it to 7,000, I think that's
Okay,
reasonable.
I'll do that.
Go to 7? Yep. Okay.
And then insurance reserve, I went up a little bit on that too, you just never know,
Insurance.
that pays for our North Dakota's, NDI rep for our insurance on the buildings and on our general liability and our autos.
That just keeps going up.
Everything does.
Yeah, and then also our workers' comp premiums we pay out of this also.
What are you talking about, like, first 4 budgets today were going down, Jim?
That's right. Some things do go down.
That
So
was
what do you
beautiful.
do?
We're just doing without, it's
It's like
like,
building insurance.
Here's a net 500 you saved us right now, cause
For
you
your
just went
carriers.
Yeah.
I'll take $500.
$500.
We always keep it with the North Dakota Insurance Reserve, but then every 2 years, we switch agents. And I think it's coming up, so I think there'll be a October meeting, you guys will pick the next agent, that's.
So
that's
you
in line.
rotate. and pick.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, when I first came here, they were doing it on a yearly basis, and that got to be a lot, so we went every other year.
Okay.
So right now, we have it with, Hazelton Bank,
Okay.
and I'm not sure who's next on the list, I have to check.
I was gonna say, you had a pretty good list, and then we just try and rotate.
Yeah,
you know,
we
the
just
better.
rotate it.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
But we've always stayed with North Dakota Insurance Reserve, I think they're the most
Some
reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty reasonable.
Next one is human service indirect costs. Now, this doesn't cost us anything, but we have this check that comes into the county because we're host county. And then we have to turn around and, divvy that check out to other 6 counties for their indirect costs, but I have to appropriate something in the general fund. So that's why, so this is an in and out thing. You get from the state, I turn around and give it to the other counties.
Food pantry.
And I'm just gonna mention too, this, human service, that's a challenge being that host county, I'll tell you guys. We get they have such a turnaround in employees, it's unbelievable. She'll hire somebody for weeks like, I mean, it's,
Nightmarish.
it is,
Well, a lot of the positions are things like CPS and stuff though, that have a high turnover rate just in general too. Like people get in there and I think they realize how difficult the
How
job is.
difficult
and
this is.
A lot of them don't last.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
it's
right.
yeah, it gets very challenging for
Yes.
Jody, I'll tell you what, I mean, I hope she never leaves me. Food pantry, we paid Jackie, Schneider to be our food pantry coordinator.
Jackie Schneider, is that Luger's? No.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, okay.
so she gets paid $500 a month.
Never see that lady.
And then our next one is county park, I kept that the same as we did in 26.
Did Braddock ever get their straightened out?
No,
Still not.
Oh, they gotta get some kind of a rental agreement.
Yeah, something to the easement
they gotta bring me a deed and then we'll cut them the check.
Yeah.
from Dayton to the city, whatever.
And then technology budget, this is where the software for our tax program, the ITD, internet, the tower rent, elevator, telephone, generator maintenance, Vanguard, and a whole bunch of other stuff in there, Tyler Tech, back camera storage, security system, fire alarm inspection. I just use this fund to pay all those expenses out of there. Cause it really doesn't come out of anybody's departmental budget, you know, it's other things that we, you know, that nobody else puts in their budget, but yet it has to be paid, so I have a technology budget for that. And then the next one is human resource, that's what we paid Tanya. I budgeted 5,000 for that again this year. And then South Country, that's a social service budget. You guys don't approve this, we have a board that approves it, but she wants you guys to have a copy of that. And then the last are some of the entities, I didn't receive anything from public health yet. I haven't received anything from the county hospital, I haven't received the ambulance budget. So they should be coming shortly, but this historical society, the soil conservation, the water, the weed, and senior citizens are here. So what I'm gonna need from you guys today, so I can put a proposal together, is what you wanna do for salaries, so that I can put it in the budget.
Well, as we're talking money, maybe I shouldn't ask it here. It's in regards to that permit money that we got.
Yeah.
Into the county. Where is that at, and what are we drawing on interest on that?
We're drawing on interest with all of our money, right?
Right, what kind of interest rate are we drawing on?
Oh, I'd have to check with B and C, is that now, I'm not even sure.
Oh,
We got quite a bit of
a
interest.
good chunk of change, sure.
Well, you know, like, the social service money came in 1.7 million sits in there. You know, it takes 6 months to use that up, but we get pretty good interest on that too. General fund interest, I don't have my book here for that. I can let you know at the August meeting, I'll have it all figured out when we get, that goes in the general fund.
Just curious.
Yeah. So the only ones we have left then is just Russ stuff.
Yeah. Well, most of the department heads are a lot of them, not all of them, we're talking what, 5%?
Step and grade, yeah.
You know, you don't have to do a step and grade, you can just do a COLA, or, you know, you don't have to, I mean, it's up to you.
Well, the way you'd handle it is you would decide on COLA first, and that basically updates the entire sheet.
Yeah.
You do an across the board, cause even like some of these departments were asking for maybe like a step or a grade increase. And then no COLA, and then some were asking for a COLA, well, you don't get to do that. That's part of our whole process now is everybody's gonna get the same, the sheet gets updated and then you update grades and steps after things like the COLA. So
Which is good.
Like Sanders even stated, he said you do the COLA, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Offsets and readjusts everything.
Right, and that's why, I mean, that was the whole point of getting to where we're at, is because like some of these requests, they always came in, you know, and then they never asked for steps and grades, they'd come in and they'd ask for $3,000. Well, that's such an obscure number to compare to, cause now, you know, Marlis's department is asking for a 3% COLA, this department's asking for a $4,000 increase. And then next thing you know, you start looking at your budget, you have these wages that don't even correlate to, you know.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you guys remember last year when we did this, when we implemented this step and grade increase, I went through and
Yeah.
I gave you guys all a sheet of what kind of percentage some people got as an increase, some people got absolutely hosed on it. Right, there was one of them, as far as the increase he got, some people got really nice ones. And I think we should probably take note of some of that, maybe, guys that got very little. There are a few guys that got less than, they got 2% or less of an increase last year on this whole deal, and there were people that got 10 and 12 and 8% last year, 20%. I think we have to be mindful of that as well, that there were some people in this whole transition that made out like bandits, and there were other people, and I agree with Aaron. I think we look at a across the board COLA for everybody, and then there are some people that probably should get some step increases, I think. There's gonna be something that's gonna come up in the budget later about our zoning and planning board. You know, we have some guys that are on that board that are getting nothing, that one, Joe Hansen, that show up and they're not getting the $100 per meeting. They're not getting anything, so maybe they either should get a step increase, or the $100 and a step increase if it's outside their hours, but they took additional duties. So that's something, you know, I think Aaron is right on. We look at a COLA for everybody across the board, that moves everybody, and then we can look at possible steps for people that took on additional duties and whatever else.
Well, and the cost of living is not supposed to make anything right with any one individual.
Right.
The cost of living is just to keep the boat coming with the tide,
Yeah,
you know, and so you don't wanna get too aggressive with a COLA if you're like, wow, some of these folks are really behind, well, then you don't, because like you said, you start to create disparity again where,
Right.
and some of those 10 and 20% increases, those were the people last year that were now kind of advocating in a different way for other people this year. Like you looked at it and you're like, this isn't probably right. So you are gonna see some big increases, especially in the beginning.
Yep.
Year after year, it should start to go from, there's 3 or 4 people that are out of line to now it's more like maybe 1.
Yeah.
Maybe, now when you have turnover, that makes it difficult, like Sheriff Sanders says, you know, are you gonna start him out right at Gary? Well, it's hard because Gary was behind for a long time. Like when I became commissioner, I think when we had that salary review that time, there's 53 counties, we had like the 49th page sheriff in the state, like when Gary was advocating, he was right, you know? And so now you get him to this salary and you're like, oh, the salaries, you know, it's like, yeah, but that's kind of where he needed to be all along. And so even when you bring in a new sheriff, like that's why like the comparison of like, we can't always pay him what the last guy made. Well, when you're behind year after year, it gets very difficult to recruit new people when the old person was really, I don't wanna say underpaid, but just maybe behind in their position. So when I
don't
first,
wanna speak nothing against anything on the salary aspect of
yeah,
it. But it was like, and I'm not picking on Gary.
Yeah.
But he was promoting these salaries need to be increased for these deputies to bring people on board. But we lost all our deputies after we did that increase, and you don't see anybody coming in. That's what's kinda.
Yeah.
I'll say one
And
thing,
I'm
though.
not picking just on that department.
Yeah, no, you're
Money
right.
doesn't buy all this.
Well, I'm not advocating against the people that got larger increases last year because like Aaron said, some of them did deserve it. I just know there were some people last year that, like I said, got left behind and they stuck with us for a year hoping that we were gonna make it right. And I think we have to pay attention at least to the people that took it in the shorts, to put it mildly, last year and stayed here and did a phenomenal job for us. I would like to at least make it right for those few, because there were some that, like I said, that here, everywhere, the courthouse, out in the trans department, there were people that.
Well, and I'll say too, speaking from experience, I don't disagree with what you just said. It doesn't necessarily relate to just always retaining people. but it has gotten significantly easier to recruit and even get applications. There was a stretch, my first, second year commissioner there, we couldn't even get people to apply for the blade operator jobs, and when we did, they never stepped foot in the blade.
Yeah,
They maybe ran an excavator or a payloader for somewhere, and you literally were, we haven't hired a person, I don't think, in quite a while that hasn't been running a blade when they filled out their resume, and that is the kind of, and I think even with the sheriff's department, I think statewide, probably nationwide, the police thing is very difficult, and
Yeah,
so.
yeah, got nothing to do with us.
Right, and I think the salary part is still an important avenue to at least get
It is,
people
yeah.
to look at it and just be like, okay, they're serious, cause you're in the phase now where it used to be $40,000 was a living annual wage, now it's a part-time salary. I mean, it's just the way it is, and so I think we are, I mean, even looking in the courthouse, like, we just don't have the vacancies we used to for very long. You know, Marlis has an opening, she gets 3, 5, 7 applicants, you know, some of these other positions, you're interviewing several people.
Yeah.
And that generally creates a better quality employee, because you only aren't just interviewing that one person that, thank God they applied, you know, like, so I think you have to look at it as a whole, you know, but I will say, we've made significant strides in the last couple of years. So while some of those people, like, you can look at a list and be like, a couple of these need to be talked about, I think as a whole, we've done a dramatic improvement to the entire, across the board, everybody, so, you know, there still needs to be a level of conservative thinking too, though, like, you can't just be like, wow, we love them all, like, yeah, it'd be great to give everybody 20% increase every year, well, eventually, like I said, I'm a business owner,